Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends. And folks, I indeed have brought a group of friends together once again to bring you the best place to spend your Monday evenings. The NFL, bah, who wants that? The game probably would suck anyway. We're here to talk about games, but more specifically, we are here to gush and gush and gush about big team battle that we all got a chance to play. And my God, has 343 hit it out of the park. I got a chance this past Friday and Saturday to play with Kay Asante, Zemi Games. I got a chance to hang out with Makilla Gorilla, greatest name of all time. We got a chance to hang out with Drawn TJ. And I missed the boat, apparently, on adding 12 people that you all know and love into one team. I cannot wait to experience that. But let's get into the panel. And we have a very special guest. He goes by the handle on Twitter, Mr. Joanna Dark. He's also at Big N Boss, which is a great name. And he is currently someone that works for Xbox Customer Success Manager. And I think that is something to be said. He's a proud dad. He loves podcasts and a person that doesn't need to read into the future to make their own decisions. And of course, Joanna Dark, welcome to today's program.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and an honor to be in this panel. Some amazing individuals here. So I'm happy here to just be on the show, talk some games and have fun and enjoy my time with the community. So thank you.
Well, it's great to have you here, and we cannot wait to get into some of the bigger topics. We have a lot to get into. Of course, we're going to open up the show once again that we're talking Halo. You're going to get 2.5 hours of footage. I recorded about 4 hours of footage. I got to play it for about 6 hours. Didn't play on Sunday because I spent time with the missus, and that was actually quite a great time. But I cannot wait. I tell you, if I could somehow spin the clock forward to December 8th, I would. This is, like I said, this is one of the best Halo experiences I've had in years. I honestly cannot wait to play this in December. We know that Aaron Greenberg was tweeting about he had a chance to play on Friday, the single player, and he said he walked away smiling from ear to ear. And everyone who doesn't love Greeny, right? Obviously, we know he works for Xbox, but if he's saying that he's smiling from ear to ear, there is a lot to get excited about for sure. But let's introduce the rest of the panel, and we're going to jump right into Halo. And first up is going to be Kay Asante, who I got a chance to play with. I got to tell you, the most reserved person in a circle of podcasters that we roll in is none other than Zemi Games. And wow.
No, he's not. He
is an animal. He is an absolute animal in multiplayer.
Put a BR in his hand and he's a monster.
She is something else. But hey, man, welcome to the program.
Welcome. That man talked more trash than me, and that's hard to do. I'm sorry.
But he backed it up with 29 kills and 6 losses, 6 deaths. Not
yeah. To the point where after we played later and he wasn't there, I'm like, it doesn't feel the same anymore, man. Where's all the trash talking? I don't hear it anymore. Welcome. Hey, thanks for having me on as usual. This is gonna be a great show. We're gonna go all in on the grapple shot. That's what we do. We're going all in on the grapple shot. Welcome, Mr. Joanna Dark. Your reputation precedes you. Your handle is known far and wide for mostly positive, always positive information and all that. So it's great to podcast with you. And of course, I see the rest of my brothers in here. Everborn, we're still owed, man. We're still owed. It didn't happen yet, but we'll get to it. We didn't get a chance to do.
I tried to get on, and you was like, tried. "No, I'm gaming on the PC right now, and I can't come in with my keyboard and mouse."
You were a little too busy at that point. You were a little too busy at that point. No, But no, welcome
Don't you
everybody.
put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
It's gonna be a great episode.
I love it. I love it. We'll get to the bot master momentarily because that's what he spent a lot of time playing. Next up, the Wandering Dutch. I heard that you had some hell of a crew, and I am so mad at myself that I missed it. I cannot wait. I'll tell you one thing. I am not usually I'm a single player guy. Everyone knows that. There are certain games that I go headfirst into in multiplayer, Titanfall being one of them, The Division being another. But my God, I cannot wait to jump into this with a lot of people that I podcast. I cannot wait to roll with a crew of 12 people that you actually know that will run as a squad. Welcome, Dutch.
Yeah, it was absolutely awesome. Obviously, I'll get into it more when we start the topic, but both Saturday and Sunday, we had full teams of 12. In fact, so much so that we had maybe between 14 and 16, and we had to do rolling substitutions to get in.
Wow.
And it was absolutely awesome because obviously Asante jumped in, he was in for a couple of hours, then he'd jump out, and another one would jump in, and another one jump out, another one would jump in. And it was just rolling 12, but at least like a lot of people got to experience that full 12-man team across the weekend, and it was just absolutely awesome. And I streamed the vast majority of it. So the Saturday I did the first and second sessions, but as mentioned previously, unfortunately for the Europeans, the second session was 1 a.m. till 5 a.m. So
that's insane.
That was a pain. So second day, it was just the earlier one, the 6 till 10 p.m. But it didn't detract from it at all. It was still just absolute chaos. And even funnier having a 12-man squad. But we'll get into that a little bit later. It's awesome to be on with Joanna Dark. Nice to meet you, brother. Awesome to have my usual brothers here as well. Joining us to have this awesome discussion, not only just about Halo, but of course the other big topic, which I'm sure a lot of people will bring the heat for. But yes, can't wait. Thanks again, brother. Let's get into these topics.
Absolutely. Next up, the loudest guy from Canada that hopefully this year he does not cause an avalanche. Maybe you'll get some snow this year, brother. Welcome back, middle-aged game guy. How are you, dude?
I am fired up tonight, guys. I am having a great night. I posted, by the way, just a little self-promotion. I just posted my new video, and no joke, in 9 minutes, it's already been retweeted 51 times. So I have a feeling I'm going to be ruffling a few feathers tonight, guys. It should be pretty funny. But anyhow, guys, it's great here. I had a great weekend. I got to play with Wandering Dutch this weekend for a little bit. In Halo, of course, and then I bounced off, and I ended up with Noof Nukem and Mooch and Brap and if you can believe it, and Crap Gamer, and we played Halo. That was something. It was interesting, but anyway, we'll get into our thoughts about it.
Mag, did they have concerns?
Oh, the concerns were ripe, my friend. They were ripe. Not me. I have my own concerns, but we'll talk about that later. But anyways, guys, Mr. Joanna Dark, it's a pleasure to actually have you in the flesh here instead of just seeing you in the chat. And let's get into this great show, guys.
Absolutely. And last and no way least, the Everborn Saga. Some are saying that you are the bot master and not the ex-bot master. I mean, I want to shoot bots on Halo, not play with my friends. What is going on?
Okay, well, let me tell you something. I actually did get into big team battle. I just didn't get to play with Mr. Asante because he was busy doing other things. But that's okay. I will not hold that grudge against him because I had a great time playing with some strangers. Where nobody was in the party chat because nobody does like game party chat anyway. But that's neither here nor there. Yes, I was training against the bots because I haven't played Halo since 2015.
Good.
2015, I haven't played Halo, and now multiplayer, I should say. So yes, I had a lot of fun in the training. I had a lot of fun in big team battle. But I do have to say though, man, I was a bit concerned about the time to kill. It kind of psych. It's great. Don't listen to none of these people talking any trash about this. This was amazing, and they don't want it to be great. But anyway, let's get into this show. I have some shit to talk.
Okay, well, listen. Let's dive right in. Joanna Dark, I want to go to you first because you are our special guest. Look, I said this on Twitter. I couldn't stop talking about the game. I couldn't stop posting videos. One of the things that was so refreshing, so amazing, and I talked about this before, from the week before, but I think that the big team battle, it silenced a lot of the console war rage that is known on the interwebs. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, everyone that is anyone was playing this game, playing the game that everyone worried about, playing the game that, you know, everyone had concerns for. And it turns out that even in its beta form, there are people, and I won't name names, that are calling this their game of the year already. And that's just the multiplayer. What was your experience this weekend?
So I got to play maybe on Saturday because I was ill, unfortunately, this weekend. And Halo Big Team Battles is just amazing. I think we were talking off air that I'm a huge Halo fan. I've played it since the first Halo. And if I have to go to one multiplayer game that I have time to play and jump in, it is Halo. And for a technical flight, the amount of polish and just the overall, the big thing is that it's Halo. And It's not only Halo for the people that are just coming on and experiencing it for the first time, but it's also Halo for people that are the hardcore Halo fans that love a lot of the mechanics. I think that's one of the things, in my opinion, with Halo 5 that it kind of struggled, where people were kind of against the running and the sprinting. But I think that Halo needed to evolve in a way that it still appeases the mass. And I had a blast just going in. And I'm going to tell Overborn, I was part of that Botmaster squad.
You smart. You smart.
Mm-hmm.
You get ready for when the time comes. They're very smart to put that in there. You, sir, are a gentleman and a scholar.
Well, okay. To be fair, the bot game has been stepped up dramatically since the last flighting. So if you happen to be in Spartan setting on this level in this flight, yeah, you probably got your butt handed to you a few times because they are really good now.
Yeah,
really,
I posted a video of I just went in and a bot killed me, and I said this is how I started and this is how it ended, and I came back and played. I think another thing about this Halo was the first time I used in Big Team Battle the hook to just grab somebody and then just punch them. I was just like, oh my god. This is my. I want to grapple. I want to grapple everything. I went to try to grapple whatever animals I saw there. I just wanted to do everything.
Should I say pause? I feel like there's a pause.
I know, me too. I was thinking the same thing.
No, I will say this, Kay Asante. I'll come back to you in a second, Joanna Dark. You posted a video of you jumping off the edge and literally Spider-Manning. Mm-hmm. Right back to safety. It was incredible. Listen, all I can say is that grapple is going to be the GOAT. I mean, like, seriously. And you know, it's funny. I had something where I had a warthog bounce off of me because I blocked him with that shield and I killed everyone in there.
Repulsor.
I didn't record that.
It's just so many good moments that game presents. Just so many good moments. That Spider-Man stuff, like I have to be fair. I saw it being done and I was like, I can do it myself. And I was trying the whole damn time and I figured it out at some point. You can literally Spider-Man your way back into the level. There's another one where like there are pelicans high in the air and you can literally time it right and like get to the pelican and grab it while in midair without shooting it and steal it. Oh, the physics and the stuff you don't know. You know, while people were busy shooting tires, making complaints, you know, 343 was saying, look up because there's more to it than that. You know what I mean? And it's absolutely brilliant. But please continue. I didn't mean to take over. Go ahead.
No. I agree. I think I saw a video by Colt Eastwood where he repelled with the hook a grenade, and I was like, I gotta go try that, or I gotta go and do sniping. Yeah, the whole thing about tires. I'm sorry, when I play multiplayer, I'm not concerned about tires. I'm concerned about who I need to go and dominate, and where I need to, when I'm playing capture the flag, where I need to go and get those points. I'm not worried about the fact that I can't shoot a rock or something like that. We have games like that, Red Faction, that I can play if I want to go do that. But yeah, no, I enjoyed Halo. It was great to also see a lot of other people enjoy it. I've had, of course, the opportunity to play some of this stuff, and it's great to be able to see the rest of the fans enjoy what 343 has done. And I think they've done a magnificent job with the feedback. And honestly, with this multiplayer, boom, I think you got it when it comes to overall, like, the whole package. I'm excited, and like I keep saying, I feel it that this campaign is going to deliver, and we're going to just get a package that, you're right, I don't see why this game cannot be a game of the year contender.
It just goes to show you how passionate Microsoft and 343 are to delay this game a year, to launch a console, to lose what we believe to be millions in advertising, right? We saw Master Chief on the box. We saw Master Chief on Doritos. We saw Master Chief on cereal boxes, right? And they had to pump the brakes because they understood that if they released it and it was broken, they could logistically and potentially hurt this franchise in the long run. And I got to tell you, folks, we were talking in the green room specifically, and Joanna Dark and I and Kay Asante, and we were talking about the 2020, the July 2020 reveal. And I agreed with him. Now, was it pop-up? Sure. But did it feel like Halo? Did it look like it played like Halo? Yeah, it kind of did. I mean, but sitting back now and seeing what they have been able to do in multiplayer, right? My mind cannot wrap around how, I mean, again, maybe it's the fanboy in me. Maybe it's because I'm such a big Halo fan that I cannot wait to play the single player. But this multiplayer proved its worth. And I got news for you. Not only did it prove its worth, at least in my humble opinion, it told Call of Duty and Fortnite and Battlefield, hey, guess what? December 8th, we're coming. And I think they proved a lot to a lot of people. Even some of the naysayers were impressed. And like I said, I read the numbers in the beginning. When you have your beta beating the big guys, meaning Call of Duty and Fortnite, you're on to something. Kay Asante, let's get to you next on this one. You and I had a chance to hang out for a couple of hours on Friday. We jumped back in on Saturday. We had a blast. I mean, besides the comedy that was coming from, Zemi Games, who is just vicious.
I need to play with that man more often.
It was
too much.
It was a lot of fun. What were your takeaways in what is essentially a beta on one map?
Yeah, basically a beta, one map, over and over and over and over and over again. But somehow it just kept being fresher and fresher every time you played it. I will tell you, this is one of the most fun I've had in multiplayer for a long time.
Yep.
As has been described on many occasions on this show, I am not the biggest multiplayer gamer. I'm a parent, all this stuff. Can't pause games, makes it difficult to play games, But and quick aside story, yeah, I felt horrible this week because it started on Friday, right? That's when the whole thing opened. So I'm like, I'm sitting in the office. Maybe I'll start a game, see how it goes. Yeah, before long, my kids, wonderful as they are upstairs hearing dad just like swearing up a storm, to the point when my wife sent me a text message going, your daughter's hearing you say the F word over and over and over again, right? And I'm like, oh my God. And it never ended that week because every time I was playing, they were right there with me, ready to like, ooh, daddy, do it again. So yes, that's why I didn't get to play as much as I wanted to because as soon as they went down, so was the servers. They went down as well. So, but anyway, it was such a great experience, especially when you're there with people and even when you're not. At some point I just was like, screw it, random matches, still a great time. Now, I mean, you will get that crapshoot situation of if you have a good team that you don't know, then you work together and you can turn it around. But if it's just a bunch of hodgepodge folks, you can get worked if you have a team against you that's good at it, right? So playing with randoms was not as grand and as amazing as joining Mr. Wandering Dutch and the crew. That was a whole different experience, But by and large, it was such a great experience, such a great, and I agree with everything you've said there, Boom. It seems that even the naysayers, even those who want to peddle narratives, they can't go too far with it because it is by and large agreed upon that this was a righteous success by 343, right? So, I'll give shout out to Gerald Mack in the chat, Mr. Makilla Gorilla. Go find that man and go sub him on Xbox Live just for that name alone. He was clutch this
Makilla
weekend.
Gorilla, and something,
Makilla
folks,
Gorilla, that's right.
If you don't know what that name is, I'm gonna show my 51-year-old ass right here. That was a show back in the days called Makilla Gorilla. It was by Hanna-Barbera, and when I saw that name, I says, he's got to be an OG just like me. And sure
he's in the chat right now, Gerald Mack.
Yeah, Gerald.
He's I'm 51.
Oh,
that's
man.
right. That's right.
That was
so. At this point, I'll sum it up by saying, look at Forbes' article. Forbes wrote an article, and we know Forbes, right? We know the people who write at Forbes. They're notoriously unfriendly to certain platforms. They wrote, quote, at this point, Halo Infinite could launch without a campaign and still be a mega hit.
Yep. Yeah, but don't give him no ideas though. Let's take it easy for a little bit.
December 8th.
We're not giving any ideas.
Good idea.
But the publication that's considered by many to be the most reputable of reputable publications, who have not been so kind to certain platforms, said this recently. It's a big deal. It is a big deal. A lot of people are being convinced by this. It makes me. Like at the beginning of all this, I could have given a crap, honestly. Now I'm so excited for Forge.
Yes.
After playing this, I am so excited because I'll never be that Forge builder, but I'm waiting for the person to build me my beautiful Spider-Man simulator. Dual wielding grapple shots, man. I know it'll make the whole thing uneven, unbalanced.
Oh, no, listen, I'm already thinking about it.
Hammer.
Hold on, I'm already thinking about it.
Grapple hammer, that's it.
There won't
just
be
play
any
Spider-Man if you want dual wheel.
No. Hold on a minute. I'm telling you right now.
Do this.
I'm gonna build a multiplayer level where there's no floor and
There you
unlimited grapples. And the only way to win is to swing off the top and shoot people before you do your next grapple.
Dude, you gotta
call it. Joking.
You gotta call it floor is lava. That's the floor is
dual
lava.
wielding grapple shot with gravity hammers. That's it. Imagine that level. Come on now.
Well,
it is going to be amazing.
Just want to. I listen. It is going to be something amazing. And again, like I said, I have to keep stressing, folks. This was a beta. We don't even have all the bells and whistles. We don't have the party favors. We don't have
the real-time lighting.
These are all canned lighting and everything else.
Yes, it's all of the bells and whistles we're going to get. But before I bring in Dutch in the conversation, I got to just catch up some of the super chats. Quite a few of them come in. The first one comes from Rodella5. Drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, love the show and everyone on this panel. This show is so underrated. Keep it up, fellas. You got listeners here in Chicago. Dude,
nice.
Let me tell you something. As awesome as the generosity is, it's the words. YouTube is hard, folks. It's a big, vast pool with a lot of talent. And that's why I try to bring in new voices, because I always want to try and help other people with their channels and get them out here. It was awarded to me many, many, many years ago, and I like paying it forward. That compliment is awesome, and I cannot thank you enough for that. And definitely appreciate the generosity. Eagles fan 76, friend of this show, drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "Oh no, wait a second, that was all right. I got to get to Augustus first. Sorry about that." Augustus drops a $5 super chat and says, "Shout out to my dudes, Everborn and Asante. Great insight from both of these gentlemen. Fantastic panel as always, Mr. Boomstick."
Thank you
Augustus,
so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the generosity, but of course the kind words. We also have Eagles fan 76 drops a $5 super chat and says, "I wish we had assassination. I had moments I got the drop on players that never saw me coming. The assassination would be perfect, but I know why." I mean, listen, why
exactly did they take out assassination?
I thought they said they were bringing it back. It's not gone. It's just not
gone.
there
It's just not here right now. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But was there a reason?
I
co-op, same
Probably
reason.
just reworking the animations, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, listen, bring it back when it's ready. Let's just play Halo and have fun. And I believe that's what we're gonna get. Drawn TJ, who we got a chance to hang out with, Asante, drops a $5 super chat and says, "Great show, guys. Halo Infinite is going to be awesome indeed, TJ. It is." We have Bingham drops a very generous $5 super chat and says this. Xbox Game Pass just released in 4 more countries. If just 5%, let me see, if 5% just subscribes to Game Pass, that's an additional 24.5 million Xbox Game Pass subscribers. And it's they are. Look, I'm not going to get into a console war here, but the reality is, again, numbers, folks. They are so far ahead of both Sony and Nintendo. It's laughable. It's literally laughable. Again, we've heard Sean Layden. We're not going to talk about him tonight, but he's back in the papers again, talking about how Sony's never going to do day and date. Well, they're leaving money on the table, but we'll leave it at that. We also had Casket Repair also becomes a channel member. Dude, thank you so much for that. Definitely appreciate that. He says, here comes the boom. He says, the hardest working man in casting. Thanks, Boom. Well, thank you, brother. Definitely appreciate that. Space Jim drops a very generous $20 super chat. My goodness. He says, "Hi, Boom. I've got to say thanks. Your work building a career on YouTube inspired me to try for my dream. I'm only small, but doing an astronomy content rather than gaming. You really are an inspiration. Thanks for your dude. Let me tell you something.
Let me find his channel right now and subscribe to that.
That's right.
I'm interested in that too now. All of a sudden,
drop that drop it into the chat. Not only we're going to promote it, Space Jim. Listen, if you ever want to come on the show and you want to kind of just get your channel out there, hit me up on Twitter in the DMs, and we'll get you on the panel and we'll talk astronomy. We'll talk what the stars mean for Halo, and we'll get it done. So thank you so much for the outstanding generosity, but thank you for the compliment, Dutch. We got to go to you, brother. You brought the hammer down with 12 plus men team. Everyone wanted to hang out with the Dutch, and why not? That is the sexiest beard in gaming. Tell me about your experience this weekend, dude.
Yeah, it was absolutely awesome. We had I would say 75% of midweek mix up on as a group.
That's so awesome.
We had myself, Erwin, Archie, Patcher, Chambellan. Then we had General C on. Then we had Mav. We had Hong, Steele. We had Asante. We had Paul, who's in the chat here tonight. It was just insane, the amount of people that we got in, and it was just continuous. CJ as well, and there was, like I say, we got to a point as well on. Mag, of course, I joined yourselves. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I joined you on that one.
Oh yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah.
That was for the late night on the Saturday. That was the that was the second round when all the Europeans went to bed. Yeah, the after dark session.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was insane, and the fact that, of course, we ended up with so many that we had to roll out people in and out throughout. Was just insane. But it was such great fun, and obviously we recorded the whole thing. It's all streamed. The party chat was absolutely popping. The laughter was there, just joking. I mean, that's when Asante was mentioning kind of getting the right team and the wrong team. We had sections there where we did a full control match in 3 minutes. Like, we got all control points completely start to finish 3-0 in 3 minutes.
Wow.
We wiped that team out.
Jeez.
It was, but that was having the right team. If you've got a full team of people to play with against an unfortunate group of random players, that's what's going to happen. We were coordinated. It was just shouting, right, go A, right, okay, now B, right, okay, now C, and it was just flooding them in sections. It was just such good fun, and we were constantly reminded that all the way through we've been playing one map for 4 hours straight and we're not bored. like we're still having so much fun. We're still laughing. We're still like, it just feels different every time, even though we're playing the same 3 game modes, we're playing the same map. It just didn't feel like it was getting old, and it was so strange. Remind myself, there's still like, we've only played technically 4 maps. There's another 19 maps on top of that come at launch. That's just insane. Like it was just unbelievable. But such good fun. The grapple hook, awesome stuff. There was some comedy moments where I grappled into somebody, and then like the guy like picked up the giant kind of turret machine gun. I tried to grapple into him to punch him, and he just unloaded the entire clip in my face. I was like, oh, that was a bad idea. I've seen some guy as well, another clip, who tried to grapple hook on the back of a warthog and got hit head on by another warthog. It was just, honestly, it's just so much fun. And I can't remember the last time I had a party full of people that were all thoroughly enjoying themselves and having a laugh like they did this weekend. I cannot wait for launch now. Like I was hyped for Halo, but after playing Big Team Battle and having a full squad of people on there, it's just took that up a big notch. And I'm already missing it. Like I'm already thinking, like, what am I going to do this week? What am I do like this weekend? I can't. There's not even Halo to look forward to this weekend. Like Far Cry is coming out, but it's just not the same.
It's kind of ruined gaming for me a little bit, right? It's kind of ruined gaming for you just a little bit. You kind of want to go back to it, but you can't.
It's great that to see such a huge sandbox and people do some of the most craziest, funniest things. And yeah, it's sad that it's over. You know, even if I went to Master Chief Collection and played, it's not the same. You know, like I want that hook. I want to do these crazy things, and it's just,
and the controls, right? The controls are so different, almost COD-like.
Yep.
You know, they've kind of modernized them, but they've kept them also Halo the same. I think we were talking about this in the background. I really hope that they update the Master Chief Collection with this control profile to then make that a standard on the older games, because this is the way it should be moving forward. You know.
I mean, listen. Look, I don't know what's going to happen with the Master Chief Collection. As great as it is, and they've done unbelievable amount of work with it. Once this rolls out, it is going to dominate everything, including it's going to eat its own lunch with Halo. It really is. But yeah, I mean, great stuff, Dutch. Real quick, Michael Kullick in the chat asks this after dropping an outstanding $10 super chat and says, "Hey guys, just jumping in. Did you talk about the sacred symbols thing? Wanted your take on the apparent misinformation surrounding what Collin and company had to say." No, my friend, you have not missed anything. That is the second half, and we are going to go in deep on that one. Everyone on this panel has something important to say regarding acquisitions, regarding the 3 studios that are rumored to be being tried out, so to speak, by Microsoft. For a potential acquisition later on. And we are going to talk about what Collin had to say. And we're going to get into that as soon as we're done with the Halo topic. But I wanted to jump in to the hottest topic of the interwebs right now, and it's Halo. And Mag, I want to get your opinion on this. You got a chance to play with some people from the panel. What were your takeaways? And more importantly, you played with some people that had a lot of concern for the game, but seemed to be jumping on it first, which was a little bit laughable, to be honest with you. What were your personal takeaways from the game?
Before I get into that, I just wanted to bring up something that's interesting, is that IGN is doing a review right now of the beta. And the funny thing, when you think about that, like, who the hell reviews a beta?
Yeah.
But as fraudulent as IGN can be sometimes, the thing is they do have their finger on the pulse when it comes to popularity. And so to me, this screamed the fact that this Halo Infinite beta, or flight, whatever the hell you want to call it, is so popular and was so popular that it almost feels like they're doing it just for the clicks, just for the traffic.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know that Halo has cut deep, right, into the community, and that's what it screamed volumes to me as to how popular this has been over the last few weekends, and of course how incredibly popular it's going to be when it actually releases in full form, right? So that I thought that was interesting. By the way, best player of the weekend I saw so far. I didn't get a chance to play with Zemi Games, but I did play with the legendary Steel Rain.
Hey,
Holy mackerel.
Nice.
That dude is a monster. He makes Zemi, look like a cat that's been declawed. This guy's a monster. I'm in the chat. Oh, by the way, someone in the chat actually said it earlier. Said I was watching the Wandering Dutch stream, and he goes, and I literally just watched it just to listen to Mag screaming in the background. Because let's face it, guys, Halo's I suck. Okay, I'm a Call of Duty Battlefield multiplayer kind of guy. I'm really hyped for Back 4 Blood, and all that kind of stuff, right? Because I'm the kind of guy like if I see you 50 yards, and then I'm moving. Right? And while I'm moving, your body's dropping. That ain't Halo. Right? Nope. And I discovered that very quickly as like I unloaded 2 clips into a guy's face and he's dancing like this. And I'm going, what? Why don't you die? It's unbelievable. And anyway, that's a whole other thing. So like any complaints I've had about like the time to kill and stuff like that, I think it's a little bit too long, but I think it's a little bit too long for me. Okay, so let me clarify that. I don't think there's anything wrong with the game. I think, you know what? That's the game. That's the game. Right? I'll learn to get better. Like Gears of War, for example. Gears of War multiplayer, I suck. Okay, I just can't grasp it. Right? So it's just not my thing. But however, Halo, the interesting thing about Halo is that it seems to be like a fine marriage of the speed and fluidity of Call of Duty with the gameplay stylings of Halo. Right? So you're able to switch weapons quick. You're able to do this. You're able to reload quick. You're able to run around, sprint, do this, slide on the ground, do all the things that you could do in Call of Duty with the same speed and fluidity, like I said. However, I just need to get more used to like the fact that, you got a hammer dude and then give him a big elbow right in the face or what do they call it? A back slap or body slap or whatever. Noof and I were making jokes about it all night about that name. But anyways, that's a whole other thing. The other thing is that, like I was like looking at like the battle rifle. I did not like, I found that the alien weapons seemed to be the only ones that would actually do something. And like I said, I'd be unloading a dude with like a battle rifle. And I'm like, is this a Nerf gun? Like, what's going on here? Like, it's like the bullets bouncing off this guy. But then, like I said, I'm just not used to it. I'm not complaining about the game. It's just my personal play style was not ready for what we got to play. However, that being said, the map was amazing. Great time. Had a wonderful time. I thought everything was really great. The only thing, actually, I do have one complaint, and I think this is a bit of a complaint, is that the vehicles felt light. Does that make any sense?
100%. Yeah,
like light. 100%. Like you hit a bush, and the thing
you're tipping over.
Gone.
That's right.
And I'm like, okay, what does this thing weigh?
Well, look what you say while the video is playing. They're floating in the air.
Oh, you know what? I wasn't even looking at that because I'm looking at the camera. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. 100%.
So that was the only actual legitimate complaint I have. Like I said, the only other complaints I have is because I suck. But the actual legitimate complaint I find is that the vehicles felt super light. So you get in the back of the vehicle. I'm on the gun. Dude hits like a fern, and then that's it. Everybody goes flying out of the truck. And I'm like, okay, all right. So they might have to tweak that a bit, but hey, that's what betas are for. The grapple, I am getting better at that. I was able to take out a few dudes with that, to shoot a few times, grapple, punch him in the face, whatever. That's fine. But then I saw those videos of guys grappling onto rocks, onto mountains, on the sides of flying pelicans. And I'm like, what the hell is that? So I tried it. And much to everybody's amusement, I grappled face first into a brick wall. And that was pretty much it. So I'm like, maybe I should go to the bots and try to play that. Speaking of bots, so now I'm sitting there and I'm going, man, I really need to reevaluate how badly I suck at this game. And I really need to get better at it. And then I see Everborn's video and I see him just taking out dudes like the Terminator. And I'm sitting there going, how the hell is he so good?
Man.
And then I think it was Asante himself.
He shouted him right out.
And I decided to rename an old school hip hop group just for Everborn. It's called Fraudmaster Flash and the Furious Bots. I found out that he was posting.
You know that's going to get clipped tomorrow, right? Right.
So, anyways, I'm just joking, Everborn. It was great, but I was just dumbfounded. I'm going, how is he so good? And then I'm like, Asade's like, that was a bot video. I was like, oh, okay. Anyways, all in all, I'm super excited for the game. I will say this, though. I'm going to be very busy in the next couple of months with other games coming out. I mean, we got Far Cry this week. We got Back 4 Blood, which I'm super excited for. Next week, we've got we got Battlefield that may or may not hit this year. Who the hell knows? So we got Forza Horizon 5, whatever. So if any more Halo betas or flights, whatever you want to call them, come out, I don't want to play them. And it's not because I don't want to play them. I want to wait for the final product now. Now I'm excited. I want to stay I want to be like Seinfeld. I want to end on a high note. Like I'm going to be like, you know what? We're the top rating. This is as good as it's going to get. Let's cancel the show and walk away on top. I'm happy with the way it is right now, and I want to walk away and just leave it, leave a little bit of suspense in it for me so that I get super excited for December. And I'm not going to partake in any more betas or anything for the rest of the year until the actual game comes out. And then I will dive into those, what do they got, 23 maps, Dutch? Is that what you're saying?
At launch, 23. Yep.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
Okay.
One map for each studio.
Right.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
I kind of like that. Yeah.
And the other thing is that it's interesting is that, you've got Battlefield that is rumored to launch with 7 maps or something.
Yep. 7 or 8, I think they said.
7 or 8. That's like 1/3, give or take.
Yeah.
Like what Halo's launching with. So man, that's a plethora of content that's coming out. So I'm super excited to dive back into it in December. So anyways, what I saw so far, super excited, super happy. And one last thing before I go is that I'm going to say, people are worried about the campaign. They're like, well, the multiplayer is awesome, but what about the campaign? Think about this. When you went to go see Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, and it was awesome, there was no doubt that 2 and 3 were going to be awesome. You know why? Because they filmed them all together. Yep. So that if one came together amazing, the rest did too, right? So the fact that this multiplayer is already fire the way it is, and it's months away from release, the campaign was being developed at the same time. You know what I mean? In tandem with the multiplayer and everything else. It's going to be great too. They just got to nail the story points. That's pretty much it. But in terms of
I think they will. I mean, listen,
and I think they will too.
Yeah, first of all, they're bringing in the Banished, right? That's an untold, and I'm sure at some point we're going to get a Promethean here or there. I hated them. I'm going to be honest with you. When I heard the Banished was coming back, I was like, okay. We saw them in Halo Wars, and now we got a chance to now really dive deep into their lore. We're going to be learning them. We heard that the Flood is rumored to come back, which is excellent. And you're going to be getting it on all sides. Besides, already the regular Halo bad guys. It's going to be very, very exciting. Everborn Saga. Let's get into what your experience was. I know that you openly joked that it's going to be terrible, and of course you turned it around. I mean, did you first of all, did you have fun? What was your experience over the weekend on what you got to play?
Okay, so I got to play. The only mode I haven't played during the flight was Capture the Flag, but I did do. What's the one with the zones? What do you call that? Total Control. I did Total Control and Slayer on the big map. Now, is it just me, or did this big team battle map remind you of Blood Gulch?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely
had a lot of Blood
100%.
Gulch vibes. You're right.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So, okay, good. It wasn't just me.
And now, a quick aside: the reason why it reminds you of that is because the same people that made Blood Gulch made this level. Certain Affinity.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Certain Affinity made all of the levels, all the way back to the OG ones you remember. They hired them back to do these levels.
That's crazy.
Okay.
That's why they remind you of that.
Now, Mr. Mag, I know you said that IGN was reviewing the beta. What did they give it a good review?
It was in progress, so I didn't want to read into it until they were done.
Okay.
So I hate reading articles that are half finished.
Didn't IGN do that with Fortnite before I went to Battle Royale? They did they kind of phase where they put the game in progress when we didn't even know that it was going to stick as a mode.
Right. So, but the idea, the thing is, I didn't read as to what they thought about it. My whole thing behind it is that I think that the reason why they're doing that is because they know that it's so popular that they almost feel like they got to cover it in order to get that traffic to come check it out, right?
I mean, it was the #1 trending thing in all the video games on Twitter.
Even though technically it's kind of morally questionable to be reviewing a beta.
I agree,
absolutely.
100%. Whether they give it a 10 or a 2, I don't believe you can review a beta.
Yeah.
But okay.
That's ridiculous.
But if they gave it a 10, stop the count. That's
It's
it.
still morally questionable.
Evermore
but-
wins the comment of the night right there.
But now, Mag, I do have to call bullshit on you because if that next flight comes out, you're gonna tell me you are gonna be able to resist another weekend of greatness.
Dude, there's so many games I gotta play right now. I'm in the middle of something. On
You was playing a lot of games before this flight came out, and you dropped all of them.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Fair enough.
Tell the truth, shame the devil.
But
Shout
I
out
kinda-
to ILP.
But I kind of wanted, like, to build a little bit of suspense, a little bit of hype for when it actually launches. You know what I'm saying? Where it actually means something at that point.
Mag, I thought that before I played this test flight. Like I said, no, I'm going to wait till launch. I'm going to wait till launch. And then I downloaded this test flight, and I was like, shit.
And then he was up till 5 in the morning.
Fine. You know what? I'm a fraud, okay? Because guaranteed, you know what? Guaranteed, when you guys see my stupid face show up on the Xbox party chat, you'll be like, all right, there he is, fraud number one.
But
All right, I'll even bring the King David light with me. All right.
There we go.
I know what Mag means. I have played some games where I tested and I was like, oh, this is amazing. And I said, you know what? As much as I want to, I just want to play the final game. I already know what it feels like. I know what it's going to be.
Yes.
I just want to go in where I know it's going to be great. So I can, at the time, play what I need to get through. And then eventually, jump in. Of course, myself, I can be a fraud.
That's what Husk and I did with Back 4 Blood. We
I
played for
would-
like an hour. We're like, we're done. We get the idea. I don't want to spoil the game now.
But I was a fraud. I jumped into Back 4 Blood on the PC. I said, I'm not going to play it. I played it on Xbox. And then all of a sudden, I get a text message from my friend. It's like, hey, Back 4 Blood. And 2 minutes later, I got my headset on. I'm ready. Keyboard. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a fraud.
No. But the thing is, I think because this doesn't divulge any story. So if this was a test flight of like the campaign, I get it. But like it's multiplayer, so you're going to be playing that over and over again. Anyway, now the last thing, not the last thing, but the last thing to you, Mag, the time to kill. The thing to understand is Halo has always been my thing. Why I never really got into COD like that is because you died too fast. And long time to kill or short time to kill also means short time to die. And COD and Battlefield always kind of felt like luck of the draw. Whoever saw who first dies. Halo, you have to square up. You got to fight to get that kill. And that's what I've always loved about it. So I'm glad they didn't. I'm not saying it can't be tweaked, but I'm glad this is still that idea. It's going to take 2 melees to kill a person.
I don't want them to
a
change
well-placed grenade and then a couple of shots and then get close.
I was going to say, I think specifically it's more just kind of buffing or suppressing a few weapons here and there. I think other than that, TTK is fine.
Yeah, I don't want them to change it. What I'm saying is I need to readjust my train of thought of like how to play it.
Yeah.
Right? Because
You're
I'm
very
so
used to Call of
playing
Duty.
a certain
Yeah.
style. I see a guy 30 yards away, I'm taking him out. 2 bullets to the head, you're done. And I'm moving on. Right? But like you do that in Halo, all you did was just get his attention.
You just got him angry.
Yeah, you just got him angry.
He's coming for you.
Actually, you know what?
A moose.
You know what? I'll tell you, there have been many a skilled player who've done that exact thing to me. You got a good sniper shot, 2 shots to the head across the yard, and I'm just like, these mother effers,
those
get
guys
them out
are,
of here.
Ridiculous. Yeah, we
You know
faced
what
a
I'm
few of those on
saying?
Saturday night. Like just
The thing is it warns you as well on the screen. It's like sniper will kill you in 1 to 2 shots max.
Yeah. And that's
You
the
see
thing.
the little light shining before they.
It's like,
as soon as you see the light shining, that's it.
All I kept thinking the entire weekend was, my God, the fun we would have had with this in the LAN parties in college.
God,
This really, it gave me the feeling of Halo, the feeling that no
100%.
other game could do, and to me has done since. And the fact that they were able to nail that gives me full confidence. And as you know, I was playing against bots a lot when I wasn't doing the big team battle thing. And all that showed me is how good the enemy AI will be in the campaign. So and we all know, and I challenge anyone to point to me who had a better graphically a better looking multiplayer than they did campaign. Has that ever happened? I'm going to guess that answer is no. So we know the game will look better than this for the campaign. We know the game is going to play amazing because we just played it all weekend. And we know the enemy AI is going to be amazing because a lot of us got owned by them. Not me, I'm just saying some of us, right? So all those things are there. The graphics issue are fixed. And it will look better than it looks now, right? Gameplay's there. They've made a statement with this sandbox style stuff. So the only question now is the story, and they've had Joseph Staten, Jason Statham there to sort of edit and hone edit and hone the story so that we can trust it. So again, I am even more high on what the campaign will be. Right. And we said this during the first flight, right? As a matter of fact, we said this before the first flight when they showed it at the E3 and the positive reaction they got to showing it off. The naysayers and the boo birds and the butt brigade, you no longer have control of the narrative. There's nothing you can do. So cry more. Ha!
Hey, Mr. Boom, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Jump in.
To kind of add to Everborn, and I think we were talking this in the green room. Halo Infinite and Halo as a franchise has to do so much more than many other games. It has to be a great single player. It has to be a great multiplayer. And another thing that makes this game that even better is the fact accessibility, which is huge. One of the things that we all want is for everyone to enjoy. And one of the things that are not talked about is the accessibility settings that are being put into this game so that everyone who's never played a game, so just like Mag, who's played Battlefield and Call of Duty, can come in and play, or like myself, go in and, be a bot boy and just kill bots all day. And on top of that, 343, these are some of the things I took in from the accessibility video that happened the other day on YouTube, was that they work with Xbox researchers to change the font size, the color coding of characters. So if you don't like a character to show up in your map as orange, you can change it for colorblind. In addition to that, they work with actual cognitive specialists. So when you have things like sensory settings, radio blur, screen shake, you can kind of change all that. You can customize your Spartan as a former vet, and I know Mr. Boom told me as well that he was a former vet. They work with the military to respect them. So that's why you see on some of the Spartans, you can put the prosthetics in there. So all these things on top of a fantastic multiplayer and I think a great campaign, that's a lot to carry for one single game. Many times we play all these games and we say, okay, you know what? This was a good single player game. And they may have a, shoe-in multiplayer, but we kind of look the other way and say, you know what? This was a great single player. But for some reason, when it comes to Halo, people are just sometimes so hard on it when it tries to do so many things. And I think it's a great.
Well, Mr. Joanna Dark, I would have to ask you what people. And look at the breadth of the comments that they're always making around this stuff, and then ask yourself if they're really being genuine with all of this pressure that they're putting on 343.
And I think Mr. Boom said it perfectly in the beginning. To me, when I saw that video the first time, it was Halo to me, and as a Halo player, I knew it was Halo. You know what? Graphics, just like anything else. Just like when I want to upgrade my PC and I go get a 3090 so I can get the best version of the game. Those things are something that can be worked on. But to me, the hardest thing that you cannot sometimes fix if it's already broken or hard to kind of bring back is that core gameplay.
Yep.
And I think they nailed it there. And I think for anyone that's never played Halo and may have passed judgment on Halo, I think this game is going to appease a lot of people, and you can just jump in and out and just enjoy a quick match regardless of the skill base that you have.
I think the biggest thing that we've all of us have overlooked and we have not made mention of, and I'm going to make mention of it right now, is being free to play for the first time in the series history.
Yep.
You are going up. If you're asking people to go out, even with Game Pass, $10 or $15, pick your flavor, to play multiplayer and single player, right? You're going to get resistance. Why should I have to buy the game? Right? I can go Call of Duty, I go play Fortnite or whatever, Apex Legends, free. And, a couple of things transpired early on in the year that has led up to what I believe is coming to an incredible point of contention for 343, Microsoft, and Xbox. They removed the pay barrier, so you don't need Xbox Live to play free-to-play games. That was huge. That was absolutely huge. And now you take into the fact that the OG in Halo, the king of shooters, is coming back, and it's free to play. I mean, look, again, all you have to do is look at this chat. All you have to do is look at over the weekend. All the socials were buzzing with video after video after video, comment after comment. Here's a great one from Space Jim. He says Jeff Grubb put it best, calling this is a Halo-ass Halo game. This is everything I love about Halo. It doesn't need to be Call of Duty or Battlefield. It needs to be Halo, and Infinite nails it. That's from Jeff Grubb, friend of this show. One Bad Mother, who's in the chat, friend of this show, who was a guest last week, and an incredible writer at Xbox Era, right? Those guys, John and Nick over there, we've been talking behind the scenes. I'm going to be coming on to one of their shows in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
He called it his game of the year. A beta.
Every word.
So, I mean, there's a lot to get excited about. This beta nailed it. Who I'm happy for is not us. It's not Microsoft, and it's not Xbox. I'm happy for 343 because I know that they're not going to sit on their hands until December 8th, until it launches. But just imagine being on that team, working as many hours during COVID. Obviously it's still here, right? It's still an issue, and seeing these glowing reviews. Everyone is talking about Halo. Everyone is playing Halo. I mean, Alana Pierce, and who doesn't know who Alana is? Mm-hmm. She asked Halo 343, can you just leave the bots going? Because all she wants to do is play Halo.
Smart. She wanted to leave the bots going.
Yeah.
I'm in good company. I'm just saying.
Yeah, she is definitely good company. But listen, this has been one hell of a way to start a show. We got almost 300 people here. Get ready, folks. Sit back, grab your drink, get your snack, because we're going in. And we're going in deep. This is the topic.
Pause. Indeed.
I almost spit out my water.
That's right, pause. We're going
what's
in.
happening? I didn't get show notes on that.
But wait, Boom, just 1 second. If you give me 1 minute before you move on, I just want to say, I want to add on to your point. For years, 343, the developers of 343 have got all sorts of shit thrown at them. They have gotten all sorts of people saying that they should all be fired, that they should be replaced, that people should bring Bungie back, even though Bungie has never been Bungie since they left Halo. But we're not talking about that right now. The point is, these are people, and you would not want somebody coming to your job and telling you everything you do is trash, right? So remember that they are human beings, and this is so great that the hard work that they put in and the stuff that they had to endure to get to right here. And again, the journey is not done yet, but we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel now. And I just want to give those guys their roses for making this something that seems like it's going to be real special. And all these concerned trolls and all these guys that are talking about human beings that they should lose their job. What if I said you should lose your job because you can't pack bags correctly?
Put up with that?
This is what I'm saying. Can
you imagine?
Other games get delayed and they're like, take your time, right?
But Everborn, and you're absolutely right. And that's not only the concerned trolls and the crazies. Even the genuine fans who love Halo have been forcing 343 to chase Ghost for years. Years. Yeah. Oh, this is not Bungie enough. That's not Bungie enough. He's running too fast. Not Bungie enough. Enough already. They can do it. You see it. Let them shine. Sit back, play the game. Stop bitching at them all the time.
Well, if anybody from 343 is listening to this show, and I'm sure there's somebody, you give them Everborn's regard and the whole
That's right.
PTG crew,
Yeah.
because you deserve your roses, and I thank you for this great experience you have given us. And stop listening. You know what? Forget it. Go ahead. I'm done.
Hey, Everborn, I'm pretty sure that the team at 343 appreciates that. I've had the privilege to talk to some developers, and I actually got to talk to some people on the 343 team. And you know what? Game developers make games to entertain us so we can enjoy these worlds, we can enjoy these stories. It's a hard job, like any job, to try to please someone. I can tell you, as someone who works in support, to make sure that every gamer can get back to the thing they love the most, which is gaming.
Yep.
It's tough, and we're listening. There's issues that are not just a flip of the switch. I'm not a developer myself, but I ask these questions because I want to understand. So when I do give my feedback, whether it's in a survey, whether it's in a flight, I know exactly the type of feedback that I need to give so they can make the type of game that everyone can enjoy. So, shout out to 343 and all game developers who make this hobby such an amazing, hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? It's they don't get thanked enough. The worlds that they build, the experiences that they start out on paper or conversations over lunch, eventually make it to the ability for us to play it. It is one of the reasons why I stepped back from going to school to learn, because when I was a New York City police officer, very young, I was like, hey, I can go to school at the same time. This is great. And I started with my brother Neo Mental in game design. And after I kind of I was like, you know what, that's your thing. I don't want to learn about the magic. I don't want to see what's behind the curtain. So I stepped back and just became just kept doing the popo thing. And you know what, 21 years later, I loved it. I helped a lot of people. But first, before we get into the next topic, which is a hot button topic, gotta congratulate John B in the chat. You are the winner of, and this was unannounced. I mean, I did make a little announcement, but you have won Deathloop on Steam.
Nice.
That is courtesy of our very esteemed guest, Mr. Joanna Dark. Hit me up on Twitter, Xbox Live, or email me one way or another. I will get you that code first thing as soon as this show is done. Congratulations, John B of the chat.
Awesome game.
Great game. One of 6 games I'm playing, and it's not good.
I'm still not done with it.
It is not.
Yeah, I'm like 60% in.
The game is good. The fact I'm playing
awesome.
6 games at once is maddening.
And then Alan Wake tonight.
And it's just too much. Too many games.
That's the quick resume effect, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is. But listen, folks, let's get into the weeds, so to speak. We're going to go to Dutch on this. Now, Dutch, there has been a lot of talk of a conversation that happened last week with someone that I respect, someone that I've been following since his days at IGN, all the way through his creation with Greg Miller of Kind of Funny Games, to his abrupt removal, to him creating Sacred Symbols, and of course, who am I talking about? Collin Moriarty. And he had a podcast, which he always does, and he said some things that, as a fan of his, I was a little taken aback. I didn't understand where this anger came from. I know he's a very sharp and to the point kind of fella. He's not afraid to give you his opinion, which is something I really appreciate about the way he works. But this is one of those situations that, as someone who respects the work that he does, I sat back in my chair. Like I said in the green room, I walked away disappointed. And if you missed out on the humdrum, so to speak, it had to do with the potential of Microsoft acquiring Take-Two, and of course, Grand Theft Auto 6, the upcoming title that's still not announced, would potentially be removed from, his words, 150 million players, and he called it heinous with a capital H. He also went into asking the question, Why did they buy Ninja Theory? Why did they buy this developer? To basically, he basically accused Microsoft of simply collecting developers just to say they had it, which of course we know is wrong. And in his rant, I think he lost a little track of himself, to be honest with you, because the Microsoft that he was talking about existed in pre E3 2018 when Phil Spencer got out on that stage and announced that they purchased all these studios. And since then, in the 3 years up until today's date, has done nothing but turn the entire ship around in culture, in understanding, in accessibility, but more importantly, arriving at 23 plus studios with 35 plus teams making first party games from now. And we're going to start getting them this year in Halo and Forza. And the next couple of years, we're going to be eating good in Xbox land. But Dutch, I gotta go to you first on this. You and I, we have a very, I mean, again, we can't invite the world, but we have a private DM that we talk to each other every day of the week. It's like we are brothers. If we're not talking there, then we're calling on the phone. Most of us call each other, and it's great. And it's a relationship that I'm proud to say I have with every man on this panel. But I want to go to you first because you had some really powerful things to say in the DM, and you held some back for this particular conversation. Please, by all means, take it away.
Yeah, first of all, I want to start with fraud alert on calling out Ninja Theory. Why did Microsoft buy Ninja Theory? Why not? Why did PlayStation buy Nixus? Why did PlayStation buy Firesprite? Why did PlayStation buy Housemarque? Tell me.
Why they buy Insomniac?
Yeah, why? Because they buy to make games. Simple as that. They put trust in these studios to make games. You buy Ninja Theory based on the fact that they are an extremely talented studio who built a really remarkable game and thought, you know what it is? We want to give them the additional backing, the additional support, not having to look for funding, but going out and give them the support to make a game that they truly want to make, the best that they can possibly be. And what they managed to do with one particular game, and there's such a small studio for Ninja Theory in the first place, in terms of the 3D audio that was literally top of its class, game of the year, the best actress of the year, literally all these kind of commendations, first and foremost. Why wouldn't you buy Ninja Theory is the question. What a silly question to start off with. Secondly, in terms of buying studios and or should we say buying publishers in terms of Take-Two, why would it be heinous? Heinous because it misses out 150 million players? Or it's just because it misses out PlayStation? Right. If you want to include Nintendo into that, Nintendo very rarely gets third-party games. And are Nintendo going to miss third-party games? Hell no. Nintendo don't rely on third-party games to get their sales. Their biggest asset is their first-party games. 100%. They sell next to, if not 1-to-1, 2-to-1 sales on first-party games. They do not need third-party games. So much so, in fact, that they barely even grace the actual platform with third-party games. Only recently have they started putting these ports on, and they don't even flinch on their most sold games. They don't even get anywhere close to the top 10, no matter what game that is that goes on there. That, to me, this again, it just cries. It cries, bringing your platform preference right to the surface for absolutely no reason. If Microsoft purchased Take-Two, here's some solid facts. If PlayStation swallowed a publisher of that size, it would only go to one platform and one platform alone, and that's PlayStation. You would then alienate PC, you would alienate Nintendo, you would alienate Xbox. So not only would you take away 150 million players, you would take the possibility of billions of players away. So there's one thing. Secondly, if Xbox purchased Take-Two, although that is, again, a very large acquisition, much larger than ZeniMax, of course, in terms of monetary gains that they would get from that. If they purchased Take-Two, you would have it on multiple platforms. You would have it on mobile. You would have it on PC. You would have it on multiple storefronts on PC. So you wouldn't just have it on Microsoft Store. You'd have it on Epic Games. You'd have it on Steam. So there's another whole bunch of areas you could have it in the first place. Again, you've got it on mobile. You've got it on cloud. You've got it on the Xbox.
Hey, Dutch, just one point.
Yep.
You would also have it on PlayStation because they'd have no choice but to allow Game Pass. But anyway,
I said that from the beginning.
But anyway.
Yeah. Great point.
Yep. But the case in point is the only reason, literal only reason, and it showed because he said it was heinous. It would be heinous if they purchased it, or it would be anti-competition. It wouldn't be anti-competition, not in the slightest. I don't know where these people
even
get
remotely close, dude.
Where these people get their facts and figures from, because it's absolutely
Ridiculous.
obscene to even suggest such a thing in terms of competition. The Competitions Authority would laugh at it, to be honest. There are 5,000 development studios worldwide and over 550 publishers. Those publishers, of course, have the vast majority of the control of those 5,000 developers. You're telling me swallowing up 2 publishers out of over 500 and the best part of, 30 studios, 40 studios tops, is control? Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, turn your brain on for one little sliver of a moment. Stop saying, "Oh, this is anti this is anti that." The reason you're getting so damn upset is because you're worried that it's not going to be on PlayStation. For someone who works for a media company, why does that upset you? You're working for a company that has access to every platform possible. So why are you getting so concerned? The purpose of buying studios and buying publishers in the first place, as everyone well knows, is not only creating new IPs for yourself, but enhancing your core proposition for the consumer. If you're going to invest in something, that is invest in essentially getting more people onto your platform or service going forward. That is called competition.
Yes.
A major football club, for instance, Lionel Messi, as everyone well knows, has went to PSG because Barcelona couldn't afford his contract. In his heyday, however, his buyout was 1 billion. 1 billion for just a singular person. If somebody was to, there is financial fair play rules, which means you have to earn that amount of money before you can purchase that amount of person. However, if somebody was, for instance, a lower league club was meant to purchase this particular player and they had the funds to do so through revenue streams, they would be able to do so. That isn't anti-competition. Just because you're buying the world's best player does not make it anti-competition. If you're buying one of the world's biggest publishers, it doesn't make it anti-competition. It just means you are bringing in the best into your portfolio in order to compete at the highest level. It's just as straightforward as that. You cannot complain. You are still going to get, and let's face it, for the last 3 to 4 years, you've been drumming these beats to say that PlayStation Studios first party are the best in the business. They produce the best games, the best narratives, the best single player games, the best first party games. And if they are so much the best, why is this such a concern for you that GTA is not going to be on your platform?
Yeah.
Why? Why? If first party is king for PlayStation to you, why are you so concerned about GTA? Why? It just baffles me. Absolutely baffles me. Collin and Sacred Symbols, again, it's not personal against yourselves. You just need to switch your head on a bit, I think, first. Stop letting your emotions rule and just focus on the facts. Don't make ridiculous claims that can't be backed up by actual common sense.
I mean, you're definitely onto something, and he definitely led that show by his emotions. I want to bring in Mr. Joanna Dark. Look, Wandering Dutch brought some great points up, and I want to bring up some facts. I know that there was some antitrust concerns. I know there was, too many studios for one. Said Microsoft. Just to bring it to the conversation, Embracer Group. If you don't know who they are, they currently have 70, and I believe it's 76 developers under one umbrella, which by my math, I'm no mathematician, by my math is literally 3 times the amount of compared to Xbox at 23. I want to get your opinion on this because one of the things that has been raging since that particular podcast, and more so even from weeks before, is we understand that Microsoft is in fact going to buy more studios. Like it's at this point.
You know what? I was going to say, sorry, as well. You know what people have to also consider at this moment in time is where the world and the state of the world is at the moment, because people seem to completely forget that we've just been into a 2-year pandemic. That isn't going away just because people are starting to get jabs and vaccines. What you have at the tail end of something so large like that is a massive worldwide recession. So much so that businesses, not only in the gaming community, but just generally worldwide, there are thousands upon thousands of businesses closing down because they cannot afford to continue operating.
That is a fantastic point. Yes.
You look into the actual game development side of things, these are usually self-sufficient people that have to plow their own money into creating this in the first place. If they're not generating money and if they're not making enough money to pay their overheads, that is game over. So the fact that these big companies are going out on a limb and saying, right, not only are we going to buy these bigger, large publishers who might also be struggling, because that's, and I'm sorry, but just because you see a lot of this revenue coming in doesn't mean that they're going to consistently be able to sustain that level of investment or plow that money straight back into it, because that's not always the case. I've seen the biggest of PLCs fold, and there is still yet more big PLCs yet to fold in the UK as well. Within the next couple of months. Just because you're bringing in money doesn't mean you're safe.
No,
there's always a lot of debt going on in the background. And publishers, game developers and publishers are one of those really at risk over the next year or so. Companies like PlayStation, companies like to be fair, we want to hope PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, so these big platform holders are swallowing up a lot of these, because the ones that you don't want are these non-platform holders, these giant conglomerates out to stay.
You don't want
I've said it over and over again.
Take Two.
It's not. I mean, even Netflix. Like again, they're attempting it. Thankfully, Netflix are doing more of a mobile thing to test the waters. They're not going knee deep in like Google did, and unfortunately backfired. But people have to really remember that, like we're still in, there is a worldwide recession going on. Some of these publishers will be absolutely thankful that one of these big companies, the PlayStations, the Nintendos, the Xboxes, are going to come in, not only going to save them, they're going to save hundreds of jobs. They're going to make sure that for the foreseeable future, if not indefinitely, that they're going to be able to go to work every day, feed their families, and create games to then we enjoy. But not only just create games, but create the games that they wanted to make, not that they struggled to continue making and then only just put out. I mean, we've heard from Psychonauts 2, Tim Schafer himself said,
an absolutely different game than what they were going to release.
Yeah, he said if it wasn't for that purchase, it would have been nothing. What he had to cut so much, and then Xbox purchased him, and he was like, I can put it all back in.
Yep,
like everything I've cut out, I can put back in.
Specifically, he talked about, yeah.
So. Massive point there.
No, that's a great point. You know, Mr. Joanna Dark, I want to read 2 specific quotes that should make people's eyebrows if you missed out on this. And this comes to us from CNET, who interviewed Satya Nadella and then Xbox. This is right after the Bethesda announcement, the ZeniMax purchase. This is what Satya Nadella had to say. You can't wake up one day and say, let me build a game studio, explaining how it's easier to buy a studio than create one from the ground up. Phil Spencer then chimed in.
Just one second, Boom. Did it ever rub you any kind of way when he said that, and like the initiative was right there?
No.
I just feel like the initiative would have been scratching their head while he was saying you can't just build a studio while they're building a studio.
But the initiative, listen, there's a reason. You got to understand, the initiative is a bunch of chefs. and they're building this incredible meal in Perfect Dark, and they're now getting help from Crystal Dynamics to finish it off. They did the groundwork, and now Crystal Dynamics is gonna take the football and run home with it. But getting to Phil Spencer's comment, he says content is just incredible, an incredible ingredient to our platform that we can continue to invest in. This doubles the size of our creative organization, talking about adding ZeniMax and Bethesda to Xbox. Where do you personally fall in where people are concerned that Microsoft is getting too big or buying too many?
So I think Wandering Dutch made some good points that I'm going to piggyback off, and and I have some things on how I want to approach this. So the first thing is, I don't know if some of you remember a studio named Looking Glass Studio.
Yes.
They made one of my favorite all-time games on PC called System Shock, which eventually Ken Levine went over to Irrational. That studio was full of so much talent, but unfortunately, their games didn't do as well, and they closed.
Right.
And the way I look at this now is, if at the time Looking Glass had someone like Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo to come in and say, hey, you know what? I think you're talented, and we want to bring you into our fold so you can continue to make some amazing games. I wish they could have had that opportunity. There are a lot of developers out there that are great that unfortunately sometimes, they can't always, hit it out of the ballpark. And we love them because we call them cult classics, right? We have something like Deadly Premonitions, or we have No More Heroes. And I think that it's great that we're kind of in a place where we can get some of those developers to still exist. Another one is Zipper Interactive, SOCOM, one of my favorite multiplayer games that I used to play. What happened when, unfortunately, the 2011 PSN hack, they closed down, and they got the bad deal of that part because there was no way their game can go online. Another great developer gone.
Yeah.
So the fact that we can now have this type of system where, yes, when times are currently hard in this pandemic, and let's just say I was a game developer and any of the companies said, hey, you know what? We like what you do. We want you to come in here. I would say, why not? I can continue to make the games that I want. And you can see that with In Exile. In Exile, Wasteland 2, a game that I kickstarted. And now when you look at Wasteland 3 and the money that went into that game, and Wasteland 3 is one of the most phenomenal Western RPGs, in my opinion, that I love. And I can't wait to see what they do next. Obsidian. Yep. With Pillars of Eternity, which is a great RPG, if you like, again. And I'm excited for Avowed because it's within that world. I look at it back to the analogy about Messi, right? And a soccer team, right? Within a team, you build a culture. You put the players down. So let's just say the players are Undead Labs. You have 343 Industries.
Playground.
You have Playground Games. That's the people that you drafted to the team. You then say, well, how can I take my team to the next level without having to always go through the draft to eventually build a studio? Well, what talent is out there? Ninja Theory. You have Obsidian. That's how you're building a team. And it all starts with a culture. There's nothing wrong about purchasing something that fits perfectly in the pieces of your team. It's kind of like any job, right? When I am looking at someone to hire, how does that person fit into my overall team to take my team to the next level?
Yep.
And that's the same thing on the side of Nintendo, right? Nintendo says, hey, what games can I do besides the amazing platformers, the Smash Brothers, that can kind of round me all out to kind of hit every single genre? Same thing with Sony, right? We talk about amazing single player games. So what can I do to get a team that's going to help me do a couple of things? Maybe bring in some good multiplayer games for factions on Last of Us 2. Or, hey, you know what? We want to expand our business to the PC. Let's bring somebody like Nixus, who's an established company, to come in and help me with the talent that I already have. I just think I need someone that has that talent to then give the vision to the people that I already have there and continue to build my infrastructure. We all go back and we don't know how that letter of intent when it comes to Azure, right? But hey, Microsoft is one of the top cloud providers among Amazon and Google. Sony said, "Hey, I see you're doing great things on Xbox Live and such. We want to make sure that our install base has the same experience on PSN. Let me go ahead and see what I can do to do that." And at the end of the day, what you're doing is, no matter what platform you love, you're doing what needs to be done to ensure that the people that are playing on this platform are getting the same experience that maybe they just want to enjoy because their friends are here. And there's nothing wrong with that. And again, back to Dutch, which I agree. If I play on an ecosystem like the Xbox right now, I don't have to have a phone. I actually have my cousin, I'm from Nicaragua in Central America, playing Sea of Thieves on their actual Android phone with us.
Wow.
I have I donated a computer to a cousin of mine who is playing literally via the browser Halo and enjoying it. And they only had actually a PlayStation 3 because, of course, different parts of the world, things are expensive.
Right.
And now they're like, wow, these games are amazing. And they're paying a low price. And again, as a consumer, I always want to make sure what's more for my money, what I get for my money. And just like that, I subscribe to everything. I subscribe to all because you know what? I go where the games are. And at the end of the day, I love this competition because at the end, like us, all gamers, all consumers, I win. Plain and simple to me. I'm going to be playing Halo in December. I'm going to be playing, Metroid Dread this Friday from Nintendo. And then I'm going to be playing, I just picked up, I think it was called Iron Fist on PlayStation.
Yeah, that's a side scroller, right? That's it looks dope. Yeah.
Now, I decided, my PlayStation broke the other day. I wanted to replay the God of Wars leading to Ragnarok. Guess what? I signed up with PS Now because they have the entire series streamed and I have a good internet connection. And at the end of the day, every month I'm winning because all these different companies,
they're fighting for your business.
They're fighting, and you know what? I'm happy. Everyone gets to enjoy it, and at the end of the day, that's what I want. I love Xbox. I knew the Xbox One wasn't great, and we saw what happens when there's no competition at the time, right? PlayStation came in hard. You got Last of Us, and after that, you got all these great games, Uncharted. Guess what? Everything changed, and it keeps going, and that's what I think people have to understand is that we want all three to continue to do this. And I don't see it as an issue. I think we would know if all of a sudden, hypothetically speaking, Nintendo buys Microsoft and Sony, which, of course, is just crazy stuff talking.
Right.
I don't think the government would allow that. They'd be like, hey, come on, Similar, I think, what was it? Again, I'm not, when Disney, I think, purchased, what is it? Marvel, everything. Yeah, they had to give up, I think, the sports division or something.
Yes.
They had to give up something because
ESPN.
Yeah, they had to give it ESPN. Yep.
So I think at the end of the day, we can trust that something like that wouldn't be allowed. And I just think that we live in an era just like we have Amazon, we have Netflix, where content is king, and just both companies, along with Nintendo, whatever they're doing, just want to make sure that their player base has great content so they can continue to enjoy the platform that people enjoy.
And well said indeed. I don't think there's anything you said that's off kilter at all. But
I think one thing I want to add to it as well, just you mentioned a really good point again about the costing. There is no person in their right mind that wants to go out and intentionally spend more for something. Like if you can get something. Yeah, like he said, his cousin in Nicaragua is going out there and playing on the cloud on browser. That's the most affordable way for him to get into it because he's only got a PlayStation 3, so to be able to do that on browser and connect with everybody for a small fee a month. That is exactly what you need. That is accessibility into gaming. That's getting more people in around the world. And bringing more content to it just makes more people connect into it. That is the beauty of it. That is the beauty of it entirely.
Indeed.
I'll tell you one thing. Because of Game Pass, I can buy games on every other platform, every other time. And not say,
that's a great point.
And I'm the type of player, here's my thing. I want to play, I like, sales like everyone else. But if I like a game and I really want to play it, I'm like, you know what? I don't care about a sale. I need to play this game, and that's my choice, and that's fine.
Yep.
Everyone has the way. I'm not here to tell anyone how to spend your money. I'm just saying that for me personally, the fact that I got all these games, I got Black for Blood. Now I can go and buy No More Heroes 3 next week because
That's a really good way of putting it. Actually, the fact that you're saving so much money on Xbox means you can actually go out and buy more games on other platforms.
That's how I do it.
Imagine if PlayStation actually looked at that from a business standpoint. They were like, you know what it is? Let them do it because it means that they're going to have more money to spend with us.
And I triple dip. I own Death Stranding on every platform that's available. I own Days Gone because you know what? I want to play because I have the privilege of having a great PC. I want to play the highest fidelity of the game that I already played. I own Horizon on PC. Why? Because I love the game and I just want to let the company know, hey, I love these type of games. I want to support it. Let's continue to get these amazing experiences.
Yeah, I mean, that again, fantastic points to open up this particular part. I do want to go to Kay Asante next, but I do have to catch up with some of the super chats. There's been quite a few of them, and the first one that I want to catch up with is Cade Forever, which I love the name. He drops a $5 super chat. Says Xbox Era said Kojima is working on an existing IP for Xbox. Crimson Skies, maybe, perhaps using the cloud to simulate buildings, oceans, etc. As a matter of fact, brother, tune in to tomorrow's Xbox Factor podcast at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are, in fact, talking about that very specific subject, along with a bunch of other really hot topics. And I'm going to get into some Halo talk as well, what our anticipations are for the single player based on the multiplayer. And we're going to get everyone's opinion on that. Lady Foxfire drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, I used and appreciate the accessibility features. And that's right. And that's one of the things that Xbox does so well. Something that I think others should follow for sure. Gone Mad drops a $5 super chat. Thank you for the generosity. Lady Foxfire. Oh no, she did say that already. I use and appreciate the accessibility features. We also had TJ drop a very generous $5 super chat. And we have a few from Michael Kullick. He drops, wow, 2 in a row, 2 $10 super chats. And the first one, he says, let's also remember that Collin did state that he doesn't want to see Sony grab a publisher either. The main issue they have is consolidation. Whether we all agree with that or not, it's a different story. He follows the second super chat with, there were definitely points he made I disagree with, but let's not twist it as him spewing fanboy rhetoric. He and the rest of his crew speak pretty favorably about Xbox. Listen, dude, Mike, I just want to say this. Thank you for the generosity. But I'm not trying to make Collin into a villain. I'm a fan of his. I have been a fan of his. I have followed his career since IGN. I supported him when he started Kind of Funny. I supported him when he left Kind of Funny. He went out and did his own thing for many, many years until recently. Was I disappointed in Collin? 100%. I'm not going to take back what I said about that. I walked away really scratching my head. And regardless of whether or not he admits that he doesn't want Sony to buy a publisher, I honestly I couldn't sign off on that because he is a PlayStation guy. And if PlayStation had the money and the funds and they ran out and they bought Take-Two, he would be cheering and tooting the horns all the way just as much as Xbox players would. So I don't believe that for a second. I'm going to be honest with you. But again, very surprising by his reaction and his overestimation in what I believe to be an incoherent rant. Again, we're not going to get into it, but he did go in and start talking about a Microsoft that doesn't exist anymore. I don't understand the motivation behind it, which is why we're talking about it today. But Kay Asante, let's get your opinion on this. Obviously this is a lot to unpack, and of course it starts with what Collin had to say, but more so with what Microsoft is doing with these studios, and they're doing something that no one has made mention of yet. They have a service that allows you to pay $10 or $15 a month in order to be a part of the service, and on that service, you have the ability to play a multitude of games. Currently, almost 500 games in the service. And how do you keep people subscribed and get new people to your service is to have new content. And right now, I'm not saying they don't have enough content. What I'm saying is that 23 studios is nice, but 30 would be better. And if you can get something like a GTA or a WB and make Batman your mascot, your first party, if you can get Mortal Kombat as your fighter that's only being played on your platform or where Xbox Game Pass is, what that does, and I've said this before, and Everborn will agree with me on this, what you do is you force Sony into allowing Xbox Game Pass onto the PlayStation because their fans are going to demand it. So this is a power play, is what this is. But by all means, Asante, please take it away.
No, I don't disagree with any points that have been made so far. This conversation is not difficult per se for me. It's just I always have a double feeling whenever we have these conversations because I'm of the school of thought that when you get to a certain level of notoriety and Collin Moriarty, which we're talking about, the man has made himself known in the gaming space, right?
Yes.
For sometimes for good, sometimes not so good, but by and large, I too am a pretty big fan of his. I've been following his career for a long time, including with the Kind of Funny guys. I don't always agree with him, but he is genuine in his approach by and large, and I can appreciate that, right?
Yes.
It's not about people who agree with you. It's about that interesting debate that you do when you both interact with the same facts, So I've always appreciated his take on things. Unfortunately, this is more like, and he is not only the victim of this. There have been a lot of folks that are also victims of this. When you're like us, just a bunch of guys on the internet, who have jobs, who have regular lives, and then get online and talk about games, you have your opinion, like everyone does, and you're completely allowed to have that opinion. But when you all of a sudden have an opinion that can reach far and wide and can shape people's minds because you're at that level of notoriety, to me, I feel that you have a responsibility to calibrate your words a bit carefully. You can say what you want to say, but the way he was responding, the way that message came out was very, for lack of a better word, childish.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you expect more from him because he's at that high notoriety. What do you call it? A person like Paris Lily, he'll give you his opinion, but it'll always be thought out, well reasoned, because he knows his audience.
And
he knows that he's in the room.
Representative of this community. I've had interactions with Paris, and he is a proper gentleman.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And I've been on spaces with him. I've been on Clubhouse with him, where he'll just come out and say, look, last gen, I spent most of my gaming life either on PC or PlayStation because Xbox didn't have it.
Yep.
You can say whatever you need to say while still retaining your respect and your presence within the environment, and while like convincing those of your points without it being hair on fire, vitriolic ridiculousness. And unfortunately, this kind of veered off in that direction a bit for me. A lot of people say, oh yeah, you can like whatever you like. Yes, you can, but you can't compare yourself to someone who has thousands upon thousands upon thousands of followers who says one thing and then the sheep will come out. You know what I'm saying? If you get to a level where you get sheeple, and they all do, whether you're an Xbox guy, PlayStation guy, whatever it is, music, at some point you get sheeple. You say like jump, that. They say how sheeple. High. You know what I'm saying? They may not be necessarily the smartest bunch, but they grab their loyalty to you and do what you say because you're at that high notoriety, high clip. You speak, others listen to it. And it's up to you as the person with the voice to be very mindful of how you use that power. And it seems to me that, at least based on the conversation, and there's been a lot of back and forth, and at first someone used it as quote unquote console war fodder and whatnot, and he had to come out, Collin Moriarty had to come out and set the record straight and show the full video. I'll be honest with you, the full video didn't really change much of the opinion.
No, it did not
at all. Like,
No,
you know, I suspect he wanted it to be added in there that he also didn't want Sony to do that as well, and he needed that set as well. But honestly, to me, that's a bit of a misnomer, because we all know that when we're talking and this is me being straight, like I own all consoles. I consider myself a gamer, generally. You know, wherever the games are, that's where I am. You know, honestly, it sounded like he said he needed that place. That I don't think PlayStation should be doing that either, because we all know PlayStation could never do that. It's not within their wheelhouse. That's not their mission. That's not their focal point. You know what I'm saying? So you say that, and it kind of covers you to say, well, I mean a pox on both their houses. No, you don't.
Right. Yes.
No, you don't. You mean PlayStation good, Xbox bad. And that is very, very, very disappointing from somebody who has reached such high levels with his thought processes, right? Because he speaks and folks listen, and we all agree that he deserves the voice he gets, because he speaks to a certain demographic that maybe we don't speak to, you know, and he has every right to speak on that. It just sounded, specifically what was being said there, sounded a bit too, we're worried that these guys who don't know gaming like we know gaming are coming in here to take our gaming away from us. That's what it sounded like. And because of that, hair on fire, you know, the sky is falling kind of a thing, you know. This wasn't really, to me, this news was more about how is it that you can be so you can be at that level and still show some naked bias. Like, it's just unabashed. It was unfortunate, in my opinion. You know, now as far as what he was saying is concerned and all of that, man, the minute you think you can tell a $2 trillion company what to do and you know better than they are, I want to see your bank account, because clearly, if you ain't at that level, then I'm not listening to what you have to say. Obviously, there are decisions being made left and right, and everybody has an opinion on it. But you saying that, right, and not making it sound like an opinion and being so vitriolic and so out and out about it, it's like, bro, what do you have that can, what can you say or what can you do that can prove to me that, yeah, you're right, and that $2 trillion company that just keeps growing, they're wrong somehow, you know, and how somehow they're bad for gaming somehow. Real quick before I'm done here, a quick example. Let's say game A right now, right, is in the middle of the pot and it's taken by company A or company B, right? And we know who we're talking about. Company A will ensure that you keep paying the most you can for that game, wherever it happens to be. Company B, as has already been described multiple times by all the intelligent panelists, will make this thing available everywhere. And if you want to spite them and not buy it and not be a part of it, you can literally pay $1 for a month. Play that whole thing and never touch it again. You have a phone, right? And back in the day, people used to do all this funny talk about, you have a 3080 PC, right? You can handle it. You don't even need a 3080 PC anymore. All you need is a browser, homie. You got your Chromium laptop, right?
Yep.
Go play what do you call it? Avowed, and go play Starfield,
or
pay
wherever.
$1 and then go, screw you, Microsoft. I don't want to buy your console. I'm never going to do it again. You probably have a Windows 11 PC by the time that game comes out. Play it there. The minute you're done off the cloud, turn it off. You never have to worry about it again. But guess what? You'll get to play that thing for even cheaper than you would if your preferred platform had it.
Yeah, correct.
Why is that not a good thing? I don't understand. I just don't understand.
You know what? I do want to add something to I want, and this is a general statement. Look, my channel is small, right? It's I'm closing in on 9,000 subs. I'm gonna hit 10K simply by just pure mathematics. I was hoping this year, but I'll get it next year. No problem.
Unless an acquisition happens, I think you're gonna hit 10K.
Then maybe. That's for sure. But here's the thing. Regardless of your size of podcast, whether you have 1 million subscribers or 9,000 subscribers, and this is my opinion. You have a responsibility to your audience, whether that be people that tune in every week or people that just tune in every time there's something that they want to watch. You have a responsibility to that audience to provide facts. Opinions are okay, but when you start making the facts your opinions, this is where we start treading on thin ice. And that rant, and I want to bring up a particular friend of the show. Where was it? Man, I should have held it out here. Okay.
And Lucia, I think Lucius is maybe just touching on that as well regarding the studios, Ninja Theory and Double Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, Pong Soul, obviously, who's on the Xbox Factor podcast, and he's part of a Living Split Screen on Saturdays, was agreeing with Kay Asante. And I'll find it. I'll come back to it. But look, the thing is this. What happened was unfortunate. I know that in hindsight, he's probably looking at this and he's probably shaking his head. He's probably punched himself in the face because this is not how he normally behaves. So again, for me, it was disappointing. We all have bad days, folks. That's the reality. We all have bad days. And this was a bad one for Collin. And all I can say is that with Microsoft, they are going to buy more studios. They're going to buy another publisher. It's not even if they are going to do it. It's simply when they're going to let us know it's going to happen. Is it going to be Take-Two? Is it going to be WB Games? Is it going to be someone else? Is it going to be Square Enix? I honestly, I don't know.
Is it going to be Capcom, who just said they want to prioritize PC, which falls right in line with Microsoft's plans? Yeah. Sorry, I apologize.
No, by Capcom, please. Yes, I would love to see Resident Evil first party, but again, we're getting into the weeds here. I do want to bring in middle-aged gamer guy. Now, this is someone that can be loud if he chooses, and never, not you. Where do you fall on the situation that everyone has already talked about? Where do you fall on Microsoft adding more studios to their already 23 to do what? To provide games for a service that we are all subscribed to and to ensnare people, gamers who are not currently a part of the ecosystem.
Okay, so first things first, I want to get this Collin Moriarty thing out of the way here. I respect the man. I do. I really do. Now, hear me out, though, for a moment here. And it's not because of what he says. It's the fact that he's so unabashedly not afraid to say what's on his mind. That is what I respect. Now, like I said, the things he says, I got a laundry list. Actually, I got a couple of them right here. I wrote them down because I knew I was going to forget them. The first one thing that he said, 2019, he says, PS5 is more powerful than the Xbox Series X. Okay, fine, fair enough. He also said on another couple of shows, Game Pass is not profitable, echoing what Sean Layton there was dribbling on about just the last couple of weeks or whatever. However, at the same time, then he says things like this. Then all of a sudden he was talking about it actually just last year. He was also talking about Elder Scrolls and Starfield would be an Xbox exclusive. And why wouldn't they be an Xbox exclusive, right?
Right.
So you've got that. And then he did actually say something which was a lot more controversial. He said it this spring. And I remember, actually, I think we talked about it on this very show, where he actually said that he thinks that Xbox is going to curb stomp Sony this generation. And they need to be taken seriously, right? So I'm looking at that and I'm like, and that set a lot of people off, right? So, there is a seesaw to his madness. However, this latest business here was kind of totally out of whack. I mean, that was a little silly, a little bit over the top. The thing is, when you're talking about these acquisitions, you're talking about these, consolidation, all this kind of thing. When you talk about this and you think about why people are upset, or angry, or threatened, or whatever the hell it is, right? I look back at the 1992. We're going to talk about sports for a second here, guys. I'm not going to scream like Mooch, okay? 1992-1993 World Series. The Toronto Blue Jays, we won the back-to-back World Series. How did they do it? They bought the best players in the league. Like every single sports team on the planet. But to everybody else,
the Yankees,
we bought it. Okay? And I'm like, well, what do you think the Patriots do in the NFL? What do you think the Yankees have been doing? The Yankees have been doing for decades. What have Boston Red Sox been doing for decades? Blah, 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 blah. But then if you actually boil down and you go cut through all the bullshit and then you think about it, you dig deep and you realize that people were just pissed off, not because they did that, because everybody else does that. They were pissed off because a Canadian team won the title from the Americans, which was, the American pastime. And I think it bothered them in that way because it wasn't their team of choice. That applies directly to this whole Xbox situation. People are afraid and upset and talk about monopolies and heinous this and ridiculous that and whatever else. It's because it's not Sony. It's because it's not Nintendo. That's why they don't like it. They don't like to see that kind of situation. Now, we were talking about it earlier about, like even look at the other situations here. You got Jeff Grubb talking about IO Interactive and Crystal Dynamics, Avalanche. And like Microsoft is trying them out, so to speak, right? So you've got them trying them out. Doesn't that sound a lot like what Sony does? Yes. Sony's been doing it for studio after studio after studio, which, by the way, it's a smart move. Why buy the cow, okay? When you could just, get the milk, all right? I know it says milk for free, but they're not getting it for free. But you know what I'm getting at, okay? Why buy the cow, okay? You can get the games from them, and if the games fail, you can wash your hands clean and go, it's their fault. You can't pin it on a Sony first party. Okay, so that's a smart move. But if it does work out and it is popular, then you could say, you know what? Let's look at these guys. These guys are a great fit for us. They're a great fit for what we're doing here at Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo, whatever. Let's take them in now. Okay, they've done it twice in the last year. Okay, great acquisition. I mean, my God, the acquisition to end all acquisitions. And when you've got Insomniac, my goodness,
the workhorse of the PlayStation currently.
Yeah, and like carrying them on their back like a donkey carrying like straw, like through a village. It's ridiculous. That's Insomniac. But anyways, here's the thing: a lot of people are not realizing this. I know Dealer talked about this actually. I'm not going to quote him obviously because I don't do that kind of stuff. However, he did say that a lot of consolidation is coming and more than most people even realize.
Yeah, he actually talked about that, I believe, on Mav's show.
Yes, and it won't just be Microsoft.
Yep. And it will not be just Microsoft. And
actually, Sony specifically said that first. The Sony boss said that they see consolidation coming on their side a lot. Yeah,
right. And do you now the thing is, when he said it, it struck a chord to me, and I was actually out for a walk when it happened, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. I turned the show off and just wanted to be with my own thoughts, and I started thinking, I'm going, wait a minute, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And then it dawned on me. And I realized that this is happening, okay, because of not only the streaming industry, which is going to be, the model forward for everybody, not just Xbox. It's going to be everybody. It's just a matter of time, okay? They need to get their infrastructure together. They need to get, they have some of the other guys got cold feet right now. Why not? They want to see how it plays out. Sony is. Sony is very cautious, and smartly so. They let Microsoft make those mistakes first, and they go, okay, you see where Microsoft stepped? Don't step there, right? They let them go first in the minefield, right? So that's the smart, honestly, smart move. So anyway, there's that. The other thing is that it's not only just the streaming industry, it was the pandemic, the streaming industry, and let's face it now, with the streaming industry and with the pandemic and everything that's going on, you're trying to save all these companies. It's the fight for attention. And the fight for attention is what's going to bring people into your service. Look what's happening in the music industry. Look what's happening in the television and movie industry, right? Yeah. All these streaming services, what are they doing? They're fighting for your attention.
Yep.
And then now if you look at something interesting, like CBS All Access was the only place I could watch Picard. Okay. Well, now they're moving it into they're conglomerating with the other streaming services.
Paramount Plus, it's on now.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I couldn't remember the damn name. I was kind of
which
buying myself.
Fun fact is where the Halo show is going to go.
Yes, okay,
indeed. There you go. Yes.
So
and
now,
that started at Showtime. So there you go. Right. Consolidation.
Right. So what they did is they start off with 20 streaming services, and everybody's like, "This is getting out of control," and it was. But guess what? By the end of the day, now you're back down to under 10. Right. So it's all going to start, coming together, allow people, just like what Google did. Okay. Look what Google did with all these small companies, This guy creates this guy creates that. Some dude creates WhatsApp. Facebook buys it. Right. And all of a sudden they start consolidating with all these different. Now it's going to be corporation versus corporation. I see that. And that's going to be for everybody. Now, for Collin and crew, they were carrying on about the actual monopoly, like I was saying a little bit earlier. The thing with it's not actually an actual monopoly. I think that they're complaining about. I think what they're complaining about is that it's a mind share monopoly.
Yeah.
not a physical monopoly, because we know these. What the hell? The ones that I can't remember. They have 70
Embracer
bloody
Group.
studios. Thank you, Embracer Group. I couldn't remember their
Yep.
damn name. 70 studios. Okay, and then there's hundreds of studios all over the world. They wouldn't even be close to a monopoly, but what they are, it's a mind share monopoly, and that is what they're concerned about, because in a lot of people's eyes, they're threatened with the thought of GTA 6 going to Xbox.
Yep.
That is a problem for people.
Shocking.
And you never know. If Xbox keeps going up and up and up and up, and you're talking 40, 50, 60, 70 million, Call of Duty's going to end up there too, folks. Don't doubt it for a second. Modern Warfare 3, the whatever they want to call it, okay? In 4 or 5 years from now, 6 years from now, it'll be on Xbox if Xbox keeps growing in that way, because why would you turn away money? Like, are you mad?
I have a quick question for you.
Not about pride.
Real quick.
Yes.
Quick question for you, Mag, and specifically about what you described. You like when you first started, right? You said that you've heard him say, you've heard that their crew talk both about how people should be careful because Microsoft is coming for them, like Xbox is coming for the throat this time around, right?
Yes.
And now you also hear what he's saying there. Do you think it could be they're saying what they're saying now because they see that happening and no one's taking it seriously, so they want to get people riled up for that purpose?
You're absolutely right, because he did say a year ago, he says they need to be taken seriously. Okay, and it doesn't seem like anybody was, but now, yes, I think if you say something sensational enough to get people's attention, the fact that we're talking about it on this here very podcast, and you got the chat listening and everybody else, that means that people are taking it seriously now. And they're listening to it and they're going, whoa, what are these guys talking about? Right. And then all of a sudden now you go to this show. What are these guys talking about now? Right. So people who are, now they're going to be taking it seriously. So, yeah, but the thing is, it's unavoidable, because when Sony starts to do it, they're going to do it too. And then they're just going to go right into the fold, and their fans will be right on board with it. Everybody who is, smack talking Game Pass are going to be right there when Sony does the exact same thing doing this.
And they're going to talk about how much money they're saving, and how great this is, and how it cultivates new innovation, and they're lessening the barriers, and literally everything that we've been saying for 2 years. But hey,
add organic growth in there. Organic
Actually,
growth.
you know what? Now that you said organic growth, I have one last thing I want to say before I pass off the mic to everyone officially. By the way, how do we move up squares, by the way? Joanna Dark, how'd you get down there? All of a sudden, I'm like halfway up the
street. Down, came back in.
Hey, Mac, I have a question to what you're saying, and I want to throw this out to everyone. And this has me thinking with Crystal Dynamics and everything. What if publishers start finding a new revenue stream where instead of, again, selling, they start renting out their publishers to go out and bring some revenue to them? So they loan out Crystal Dynamics to whatever, Nintendo or PlayStation or Xbox, and we start seeing some of the publishers that maybe want to keep these talented teams find a way to make extra money when they have projects that don't hit. Okay. And second, do we see something like you said, right? Netflix, where what if one of them struck a deal with, like, NBA 2K is the official, coming day one to a service, and you have these type of deals that a certain company has, they're still available everywhere, but they have the exclusive rights to certain things.
Right. Okay. I'm going to answer that quickly, because actually that was literally what I was about to say. My final point here before I was going to pass off the mic is that when you're talking about buying organically, okay, or what I would like to say is not just buying organically. Let's call it also working organically. Okay. With third party, obviously not your first party, with third party. And what you do is that, and what Microsoft, I think, is going to be doing is that they will be buying and working with third party organically, and they're going to be buying out more publishers in the future. When? Who the hell knows? But they will. Right. Now, the idea behind that is that they're going to flesh out this subscription service, because they have to. Okay, they got to keep that content coming. They got to keep the attention there. Just look at Twitter. Just look at YouTube. If you don't post something for a friggin' week, you start losing subscribers. I'm like, Jesus, you guys are needy. Like, my God, So, like, here's the thing, though: the Netflix model. And if anybody thinks that I'm nuts, I'm not nuts, because that's the way that you do it, and that's how everybody's going to do it. They're going to model it after Netflix. Netflix, what do? They own shows. They own studios. However, on top of those movies and TV shows and everything else they got, they're still making movies with Leo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
They're still doing side third-party deals with Happy Madison Productions and Adam Sandler. Okay?
Still winning Oscars.
Right, and they're not owning them. Chris Hemsworth, they did that action movie with him last year, the one that takes place in India. Yeah, Extraction in
Part
India.
2's coming soon.
Part 2's coming.
Right. And so, like, you get things like that. They don't own those. Those are third-party deals. Okay, so you've got these third-party deals, and on top of the fact that they're still working with their own studios, making things like Stranger Things season 4 and whatever else, and then of course, once again, doing third-party deals with in Korea
Witcher.
when they're doing like Squid Game and all these other things and whatever else, right? That's what Microsoft is doing. They're doing the same thing. Yes, they bought Bethesda. Maybe next is Take-Two. But while they're doing Bethesda and maybe Take-Two or Warner Brothers, whatever the hell it is, then they're going to be doing these third-party deals with, they might be doing third-party deals with Capcom, with Crystal Dynamics, with IO Interactive, with Avalanche, blah, 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 blah. That's exactly what Netflix is doing. So, like, you don't need to look any further than the business model that what Netflix is doing, that obviously Microsoft, who Phil has openly said, the Netflix of gaming, it's obviously right in the center of his mind that it's exactly what they're modeling it after, what they're going to be doing, what they're going to be doing in the future. And other companies, once they figure out how they're going to do it, they're all going to do it.
Yep, I'm 100%. Listen, I want to bring everyone in, but everyone, before I do, I just got to catch up a couple of super chats. Brett Bingham drops an outstanding, generous $5 super chat and says, "I want a Roy Kent based personal AI from Ted Lasso on Halo Infinite. That sounds dope. He's here, he's there. There's blood everywhere."
I need Sam Jackson as my AI. Like they need to
Oh
make
man,
that would be
done
kind of
right.
dope. Lucius
right.
Augustus drops a $5 super chat and says, "My biggest problem is how Collin said, why buy Ninja Theory and why buy Double Fine when those companies were struggling? Would he rather see them die?" I mean, that's a great point. Hey, we got a celebrity with us here, Randall Thor. Good friend of this show, good friend of this community, and one half of the Xbox 2 podcast with, of course, Jez Corden of Windows Central. He drops by. He drops a $5 super chat and say, "Boom, just wanted to keep doing what you're doing. And Mag, great tweet today, LOL." Thanks so much, brother. We definitely appreciate that. And, of course, love what you do. We definitely got to get you on this program. We'll be talking in the DM. Thanks so much, Rand. Gamer by Choice drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, "My issue was Microsoft buying Take-Two was heinous. Sony doing it sucks. Not the same energy to me. There was a lot of passion and anger in that podcast. Great show." Indeed, there was. And it says, "Great show. Thanks so much for that." Sour Blow Gaming drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "He said why they bought Ninja Theory. Why the F not? I thought that was what Xbox needed. The bias is outrageous." Indeed. Michael Cullick drops an additional and very generous $5 super chat and says, "You should invite Collin onto the show. It would be an interesting debate." It would be. I don't think even Collin knows who I am, to be honest with you. And if he ever wanted to debate, I would be gladly talk with him in a proper manner. And speak like gentlemen, which I believe he would. Philly Eagle drops a $5 super chat and says, "I just want to point out how Boom goes in specifically on what he said, not the person. That's how you tackle this kind of topic correctly, in my opinion." Well, thank you. Listen, like I said,
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
I'm not attacking Collin, but listen, I've already said it numerous times that I'm actually a fan of his. I've been a supporter of his in Patreon and dropped super chats. And so again, I'm talking about this because, quite frankly, I was disappointed. But again, I'm not going to repeat myself. Passion Official drops a $2 super chat and says he's a fanboy. Being a fanboy gives him money. Facts. I mean, I'll say this in defense of that. He's a fan of Sony. He wears it on his sleeve. Now, do I think that he would kick the wasp's nest for a money thing? I gotta be honest with you. I just don't see that. That is.
I think he just let his emotions get the best of him.
I think it was out of character for him. I will say that. I don't think he would do this to kind of get his fans to give him more money. Listen, if that's your opinion, brother, I hear you. I just, because I followed him for so long and I continue to follow him, it would be incredibly out of character if he did that. Brett Bingham drops an additional $5 super chat and says, why test Crystal Dynamics? We know that they are a proven and capable studio. The Tomb Raider games that they've worked on reflect that indeed. And Gamer by Choice drops an additional $10 super chat and says, he also said timed and game exclusives are okay. To me, timed and game exclusives and buying publishers are the same. In the end, you are controlling game content. The only difference is money spent, indeed. But you know what, Everborn, before we get everyone out of here, we get the outros. Let's get your opinion on this. Where do you settle in on what Collin had to say, more specifically on Microsoft continuing to purchase more studios and potentially more publishers?
Okay, let's see. Where do I start here? All right,
There we go.
Look,
Settle in, folks.
I think it is very important what the gentleman said in the super chat earlier. It is very important that when we're having these debates, we are attacking the ideas, not the person.
Yes.
The reason I bring that up, it is very easy to say someone has an ulterior motive, because then you can paint whatever they say with whatever tinge you want, and it makes it easier to debate. So let's assume that he was saying this in good faith, and then we'll go from there. So I took issue, I think, where he brought up the Terry Myerson Don Matrick Xbox,
which is ridiculous,
and use that as a reference today, like the pre-Satya Nadella woes of the Xbox. So the thing is, and because one of the main points he made is that I do believe that he was correct. There will be gnashing of teeth and clutching of pearls, and people would go crazy, and I will eat popcorn, right? Stay mad, cry, right? But the point that I took issue with was when he said that they've mismanaged every one of their first party studios. So I want to ask you all a question. Is Gears of War in a better state now than it's ever been, and having people waiting for the next one to come out?
100%.
Right?
Yeah. How
is Flight Sim doing right now in the eyes of the public and people enjoying it and being somewhat of a phenomenon? Right? Does and I know that was a Sobo, but that was managed by Xbox Game Studios, right? So my next question: is World's Edge going to ruin Age of Empires?
No.
Okay. How about Turn 10? Did they ruin Forza?
Nope.
What about Playground Games? Did they ruin Forza Horizon?
In fact, they have to come out with Fable, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, everybody's looking for Forza Horizon 5 right now, right? So all these IPs that they managed, that this is before they went on their buying spree. All these IPs, and it looks to me, I don't know, like Halo's in pretty good shape. But I will ask again. They'll say, well, what about Rare? How many players right now in Sea of Thieves are there?
Millions.
Yep.
20 million.
Yeah.
Right? So again, are they actually? I know it's easy to say that, just like it's easy to say an 87 and an 84 rated game are trash, like Halo 4 and 5. So I know that this revisionist history just lets us say that, and no one for years has corrected people. So we think that that's true because a lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth. But I ask you, have those IPs actually been mismanaged?
No. The answer is no.
Right? So it's important to think about that. And I think what happens is, just by the nature of PlayStation's success this last generation, these talking points just become accepted, right? And there's been no one really to push back and say, wait, hold on. Is that actually what happened? Is this actually what's going on? Right? So the answer is no. Microsoft doesn't ruin the studios that it purchases, right? Yeah, some crazy stuff happened with Lionhead, but that was a different Microsoft.
Yep.
Right.
100%.
So let's look at the evidence that we have. Right. Microsoft purchased Bethesda, and remind me again, how was Deathloop, and what did that score?
Yeah.
So I'll
Game of the year for many people.
Microsoft purchased Double Fine, and how did Psychonauts 2 turn out?
Game of the year
Amazing.
contender.
Okay, so how many times do we have to do this dog and pony show? That is absolutely a pun intended. But what I am saying is, let's just stop. Listen,
So the Xbox people would be the dogs in that analogy. I'm sorry, continue.
Who let the dogs out? Okay, but the thing is, all I'm saying is, people are going to talk, and they're going to cry, and their tears are delicious. So, Collin, I watched him on IOP. He seems like a super interesting guy. Has nothing to do with him. I'm specifically talking about the comments. It doesn't matter what he said. If Microsoft is going to buy Take-Two, they're going to buy Take-Two, and there's nothing he or anyone that is mad can do about it. Right. And again, it is very different because, again, people sort of make up the boogeyman or the straw man, pick your poison of the day, and then they'll just speak as though everything is in a vacuum. So what I say that to say, Microsoft bought Bethesda and let them operate as they do. There is only one requirement. You're not putting Starfield and Redfall and whatever else you're making that is not already locked up onto PlayStation, right?
Right.
Do everything else the same and put your stuff in Game Pass. Nothing changes for you, except we're footing the bills so you don't have to make ridiculous service-based games. Now, why would that be any different than Take-Two? Take-Two would still operate as it does. It's just that things would be in Game Pass, and some things would be a few more things would be exclusive to the Xbox. Because I think 2K would stay multi-plat just because they're not going to want to mess that license up with the NBA, right? They don't have that choice. But GTA would be a different thing because that's a draw. So anyway, the other point is I understand the sentiment of being against market consolidation, even though there's nothing you can do to stop it, which I will come back to in a second. The thing that the genuine concern that people have is that today Microsoft is very bullish on gaming, right? And they have the backing of Satya Nadella. But there are still members of the board that say, why are you in this business? Mm-hmm. Right? However, he has convinced everybody. What if Satya retires tomorrow and whoever's on the board is not high on games, and they don't have the stomach for the years that it's going to take to become that pillar of the company that Satya wants it to be? And then they bought all these studios, and then they say, you know what? This was a mistake. That's the fear. I don't have that fear, but that's a fear, and I don't think we should say that everyone that has that fear is being disingenuous, right? But at the same time, this idea that you only have a problem with Microsoft buying these publishers, that's the thing that bothers me. If you're against consolidation, then be against it wholeheartedly. Don't turn around and say, well, I would understand if Sony did it, right? But I think you need to understand right now why we are seeing this consolidation. And obviously, it is not just Microsoft. We may see publishers buy other publishers.
Yep.
Right? That this is the world we are in. Why? Right now, taxes are going to go up. Inflation is on the rise, and the stock market is overvalued. All the tech stocks took a beating today. The Dow Jones was down 2%, 2.1%.
Wow.
Everybody went down. So the thing is, right now is the best time to buy. Why? Because you have foreign assets or that are going to have to get repatriated. That people are going to try to repatriate the dollars that these companies have out in Ireland and other places, yes. Right? And when it comes back, they're going to have to pay taxes on it. So the safest place to keep your money, because everybody is expecting a correction in the market, is to put it in other assets that will make you money. And one thing that will make you money, as the pandemic has proven, is gaming. So why not put that money that is sitting in the bank, waiting to be taxed or waiting to be worth less because of inflation, or your stock prices, which are going to go down with a correction? Why not put that toward, and that's for everybody, why not put that towards buying another studio that during a recession, because gaming is recession proof, why not buy a studio that can make you money and add to your content portfolio? It only makes sense then. That's before you even get to the fact that because other people are doing this and have come to that realization, that content could be locked away from you. So now it becomes these bidding wars, and you kind of have to buy these things before they get away from you. So it is inevitable, and no amount of crying or tear jerking or any of that is going to stop this from happening. It is
one thing, Everborn.
Yes,
You're absolutely right in everything you're saying.
As usual.
I will stop it. I will say one piece of the puzzle, though. One thing, and you are very right in saying that you don't want to analyze the person. You want to analyze what he said, right? And you want to tackle the words that were said, and you don't want to presume that he's being malicious. But everything you've laid out, right? And if you follow this man, as long as some of us have followed this man, he's a very intelligent dude, right?
Yes.
Even within IGN, he was the one that was brought in to write that long form, fully researched, spending months at developers' studios. I mean, he was the Jason Schreier of IGN during his time. Okay. So with all that in mind, he knows this information clearly. No, and he has said similarly in the past. So when that is out there with him, right, and then this is being said, it lends itself to the idea that the man knows what he's saying, and he's saying it for a purpose.
No, but what I am saying is it doesn't matter whether he's being disingenuous.
Oh no,
I'm just going to dismantle the argument.
And you're 100% correct. You're 100% correct. And the reason why this is being said to the public, like in my respect, the reason why it needs to be fully understood is he will say what he will say, and people will say what they will say. There's nothing to do. You can't change that. But once you understand where they're coming from, then you, the normal public, can make your own minds up with correct information. Because what's happening is, as I mentioned before, there are many people. There are people like us. There are people who are very casual. Then there are people in the middle that go, well, he said it, so it must be true. I mean, look at what a following he has. He's a very reputable guy. So if he's saying it, then it has to be true. And that is the unfortunate nature of it, right? If you're not well clued in on this stuff, you know, somebody says jump, and the sheep will go how high.
Well, that's why I said that there is a responsibility that we all have as content creators to put it out there and
put facts out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Opinions are okay, but if you're going to be out there, talking stuff like this, I think you owe it to your viewership to be frank and honest, and he was not being honest and frank.
There you go.
Sorry.
Look,
that I will say.
As they say, you're entitled to your own opinions, but you're not entitled to your own facts. And opinions are like assholes. Everybody has them, and most of them stink. So the point is, so
I knew he was going to add that one too.
The point here overall is that none of that matters, and you may run from destiny or hide from it, but it will arrive nonetheless, right?
I love it.
So, well, I mean, you could argue that picking up these publishers are like Infinity Stones, but the thing is, I just want people to don't write everybody off that says they're against market consolidation. It is 100%. A thing, and it is a fear that we should all be worried about, but we're not there yet with Microsoft or Sony. And I do also want you to understand this. Microsoft in the last year has picked up Bethesda, which is comprised of 7 studios. Yes?
Yes.
You know, in that same time period, Sony has acquired 5 studios. So they're 2 studios away, and they say there was more coming from the number of studios that Microsoft has acquired. So let's just let's bear that in mind when we're talking about one company growing organically and one company going on a buying spree.
Nah, that's
right.
I mean, listen. I mean, look. I don't think you could have put it any better. But folks, we are past the 2-hour mark. This has been one hell of a show. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Congratulations once again to John B for winning the Steam code of course, what some people are considering game of the year. John, reach out to me on Twitter. I'll get you that code ASAP. Let's get to the outros, and we're going to start with our very special guest. Mr. Joanna Dark, brother, I am so glad you were able to hang out with us. You had great thoughts, great opinions, and it was a pleasure to work with you. We definitely got to do this again. Please, by all means, tell everyone where they could reach out to you on social media, potentially strike up a conversation, and tell everyone what else you got going on.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a great show. Love all the conversations. It was great meeting all of you. Yeah, you can find me at on Twitter, big _N_ boss. I go by Mr. Joanna Dark. And I'm also a co-host of the Nickel Gaming Show, which airs on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on
Nice.
YouTube. So you can catch me there as well. We have about 5 episodes in.
Okay.
It was great to kind of do this. Like I said, it's my first time, but being part of listening to so many people in the community, everyone here, it's been inspiring. It's something that I wanted to do a long time ago. It's talk about video games. I've been a gamer for over 30 years, and it's finally I guess I was inspired by everyone in these communities, positive communities, to just come out here and just do the same thing, just have fun,
Talk games, yes,
and just celebrate the industry, which is great. And especially right now, to be a gamer, being able to play wherever you want. Not to, I'm a kid from the 80s, from a poor community, poor family. If I would have had some of the opportunities we have for gaming right now, it would have been awesome for so many people within my community as well. So I'm just happy that we're at a point where everyone gets to play. So Thank you.
Well, thank you, brother. Definitely appreciate you being here, and definitely we will be doing this again. Check out his show, but give everyone where they can check that out on Tuesdays.
It's on YouTube. It's called the Nickel Gaming Show. I do it with the host. His name is Albert Dankwa, and I'm one of the co-hosts. So check us out.
Yes, definitely check you out on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mr. Joanna Dark, thank you so much. Kay Asante, you and, of course, the Everborn Saga have been killing it with your 2 shows weekly. I cannot wait to tune in again this Saturday for the Gaming Circle podcast. Talk about that. Talk about On the Reel, and also talk about where people can reach out to you and strike up a conversation on social media.
Thank you so much, Boom. Start with, it was so awesome getting to talk to you, getting to podcast with you, Mr. Joanna Dark. As I said at the top, your reputation in the gaming streets precedes, so it's awesome that you're able to get on the mic. I'm sure we're going to hear more from you, and it was awesome. As I'm sure everybody here agrees, you killed it. We expect to see you on the mic and video again soon. That was really awesome. Thank you so much for podcasting and joining us. My brothers, it's always great to go back and forth with you guys and get to the heart of the matter. Always so much fun. You can find me, TK0 Asante, on Twitter, on Xbox, on PlayStation. Some of y'all hunted me down and we played some games this week. It was pretty awesome. Myself and the aforementioned Everborn Saga do On the Reel, but I will let him provide the news of the coming week. This Saturday, you can catch me doing the Gaming Circle podcast, where the aforementioned Everborn might not be available, but he'll tell you why. But we do still have a very interesting show planned that we will potentially do. I can possibly now already let you folks know that one of the PTG's finest, Mr. Wandering Dutch himself, will be joining us, and we'll be having a very interesting kind of conversation. I will say that we're thinking of having a bit more of an international kind of conversation, and
it's going to be all about beards.
It's going to be the beard podcast. We're going to talk about moisturizing creams that we use and how.
I actually need that one. I'm going to record that one because I've been trying to grow this whole thing out for quite some time now.
I'm going to need some tips too, because I'm not doing anything anymore.
And I will also say that I think it's on Sunday on, and I'm so excited because this is bucket list stuff for me. Ains from Seasoned Gaming has
wow.
asked me to be a guest on the Bitcast. So this is going to be really awesome on Sunday. I'm looking forward to that conversation with him. So I appreciate everybody that's able to watch this all the time. Please, if you haven't, continue hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you're there whenever we come out and we do another one of these, because we're always here for the awesome conversation. You guys join us and you make it better. So we appreciate you guys, and until next week.
Well, thank you for that. Definitely appreciate you. And you know, let's get to Everborn so he can give us his where he's going to be this Saturday. And I could not be more proud, because I think that this is the stuff of legends, folks. When you work as hard as he has, as when you try and put a dream out there, and regardless of roadblocks, still find a way to sell your wares and get a following to do it, and then of course go where he's going, I think you can say that you have arrived. Everborn, it has been a pleasure and an absolute honor to help you on this journey. I hope that I had a little help, giving you the push that I think that you deserve. Tell everyone where you're going to be this Saturday.
Okay, but before I get to you, while we still have almost 300 people here, can a few more people hit the like button?
Thank you, sir.
Hit the like button before you get out. I know you want to go.
I always forget to ask.
Don't worry, I didn't forget. And Pepper's Farm remembers.
Never forgets.
And look, you can find me everywhere: Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, Twitter, all those places. Everborn Saga, and everbornsaga.com is the most important place, because you can get some of these fine wares that I have. But this weekend, I'm sorry and elated to announce that there will be no On the Reel this week, and I may not be on PTG. Sorry, not PTG. I'm here. This is PTG. GCP, which is Gaming Circle Podcast, on Saturday, because I will be at NYCC, and this will be Everborn, the Everborn Saga's first appearance at NYCC as a vendor. We will have a table. We have a booth set up in Artist Alley, I-25. I will be there all 4 days. I may be doing
international who don't know what NYCC means. It's New York City Comic-Con, ladies and
gentlemen. Who doesn't know that?
New York City Comic-Con.
Well, it's actually New York Comic-Con.
I gotta get you to San Diego
New
next.
York Comic-Con. But San Diego next.
San Diego next.
Yes. But no, once you crack this nut, it is easier to get into all the other ones, because they ask those things. So this is a stepping stone, and everything we've been doing for these last couple of years have been stepping stones to get to this point. This is my first Comic-Con, not as only a fan, but as a creator there. And I could not be more excited and nervous and scared. And this is all because of you guys. Boom. You brought me on your show, and the first show I was here, I got to meet Cog in person. Cog brought me on ILP, and it was to the moon from there. And I will never forget that. and I will never forget the community who has been, every time you guys buy one of our books and you show it and you talk about it online, I cannot tell you the feeling that is for me, and the fuel it gives me to keep going. And that has led us to here. So if you are in the New York City area and you are vaccinated, that's a requirement this year, please come check us out. We're at when I tell you the lengths that we have gone through to have the best booth at Comic-Con, I promise you it is going to stand out. And I don't even have to tell you that it's I-25, because when you get there, you can't miss it.
Everborn, are there still tickets for Comic-Con?
Absolutely. Yes, there is.
Oh, then I need to see if I make it down there and, check it out.
Yeah, please do. I will be there, and everybody that buys a book from the website now, it comes signed, but we will be signing the books there. It will be me on Thursday and Friday, and the missus is coming to help me Saturday and Sunday. So big things happening, and I just want to thank Boom. I want to personally thank you so much, and I want to thank everybody in the community that has supported this dream of mine. And it is only the beginning. Next stop, Everborn Anime, Netflix.
Yes,
I'll let it play.
Give him a call. Yeah, actually, give him a call for sure. Well, congratulations on a well-deserved indeed. Wandering Dutch, talk about your incredible show. Talk about where could people reach out to you and potentially strike up a conversation, but also get a glimpse into the custom consoles that you have been doing. The Sea of Thieves is my absolute favorite. Talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, two custom consoles this week. So the Fable one, which is sitting proudly here, and then the Sea of Thieves one, which was made for community member Xbox Mick, who's a massive Sea of Thieves fan. Had some fun putting some awesome glow in the dark features on that one as well, which was the first time I've done glow in the dark, and it really came out well. Really pops as well in his setup.
I saw the Sea of Thieves on Xbox accounts shouting you out too. Look at you, sir.
Yeah, man.
You're going places.
Well deserved.
Yeah, it's really the love. That's another thing I love about the Xbox community, is especially the way they handle their socials. Is they're so interacting with their fans, with anybody who creates within their community. They always show the love and kind of get involved. That's absolutely awesome to see. But yeah, I do them bespoke. One thing I always say to everybody who asks about custom consoles is that I will never do the same console twice. Anyone who orders a custom console will have it specifically for themselves. So if it's another Sea of Thieves one, it will be a variation of a Sea of Thieves. It'll never be the same one twice. I want to make it so that it's a one of one for everybody. So if you've got a console, that's your console, and nobody else is going to have anything like it. And that's really the way I want to keep it as well, because it makes whatever you have much more special to you. Other than that, you can find me at Wandering Dutch on both YouTube and Twitter. Of course, the home of the Midweek Mix-Up podcast. Last week we had Xbox program manager Alan Carranza, who joined us, which is absolutely awesome.
Yep.
Told us about his journey, obviously growing up again on the borders of Mexico and the US, and how he got into Xbox in the first place, and then kind of went on from being an intern all the way up to program manager, which is absolutely awesome. So if you haven't already seen that, go and check it out. Really, really cool guy. Really interesting episode. This week, we're just diving straight into our thoughts on Halo, dedicating a full episode to our thoughts on Big Team Battle, basically all of our fun experiences from the weekend, and then how we think that will also then play into the campaign going forward. But it's been absolutely great, both podcasting with you, Joanna Dark, as well as, of course, my brothers, as usual. Great conversations. Thank you again, chat. Been awesome. And we'll see you all again next week.
Thank you so much. And last and no way least, someone that will not be here next week because he'll be celebrating Thanksgiving in Canada.
Yep.
So obviously we're going to get you back the following week, and or the following week after that, I'm not sure. But Middle-Aged Gamer Guy, you got some pretty interesting stuff coming up. You know, your brother is into the music. You are constantly entertaining us on Twitter. I don't know when we're going to get Tony Baloney on, but I have to book him. He is very expensive. Tell everyone where they can reach out to you on social media. But more importantly, what other shows are you on?
Well, guys, it was a great show tonight. Mr. Joanna Dark, it was a pleasure to be on the show with you this evening. It was some great ideas, great comments, and great chatter, except for Everborn's bad takes. But other than that, everything else was wonderful.
I didn't even say nothing about how trash Batman was, man.
I'm just trying to rile you up. Anyhow, guys, it was great. You can follow me on Twitter at the Middle-Aged Game Guy. And speaking of which, on Twitter, yes, I am constantly up to no good. I'm always up to something ridiculous. I actually just posted a new video. I'm not bragging or nothing. I'm just saying I can't believe how it took off. But I posted a video 2 minutes before we went live, and I just looked, and it's got 40,000 views already. So
no, Mac, that was amazing. I was watching. I had to pause everything and mute myself so I could laugh in the middle of this show watching it.
Imagine my poor wife, and I'm like, honey, come downstairs. I need you to film something. And then she's like, what do I got to say now? And I'm like, just say Pegasus Nation and this and that, whatever. And she's like, oh, for Christ's sake. Okay, fine, whatever. Where do you want me to stand? Oh, yeah, don't worry. You got to watch it. Anyway, it's apparently hitting. But anyways, if you guys want to get a few laughs, you can always check out some of my videos there. Also, obviously, you'll find me here every Monday evening on Xbox. Series X, and the PlayStation 5. That's right. Some of the people in the comments section, I have a PlayStation 5. You can add me. I am the Mag, all capitals. And of course, Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, you will find me on Gaming After Dark with Noof Nukem and Titan Drago. And yes, guys, it is Canadian Thanksgiving next week, so I will be back in 2 weeks tonight. So I'm just missing next week, but I'll be back the week after, and then we're all gravy from there. Everybody, have a wonderful evening. Have a great night.
Thank you so much. And of course, I have to thank everyone who dropped super chats. Obviously, if you know, if you're a fan of the show, you know that Mrs. Boomstick and I turn those super chats into giveaways. We've had a ton, and we have a special one coming up. I'm not gonna talk about it just yet, but it's coming at the end of the month for the first week of November, and that's directly from Mrs. Boomstick herself. The money's coming out of her paycheck to pay for it. I will be talking about that very soon, and that's something that she wanted to do, and just to give back to the community that has given us so much over the years. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that is important to me. Hopefully, one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he said, son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules. And I can guarantee you, you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends.